Oh, crap. I probably should push that button. Needed to test it.
Dump it?
Yeah.
Why?
So my mistake was not heard.
Okay.
I mean, hello.
Fair enough.
Good morning.
All right, that's just cheating.
It is. I cheated.
It's absolutely just cheating.
I did.
Good morning indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Hello, upstate South Carolina. What's up, America? G'day, world. It is spectacular to be with you at 6 o'clock in the freaking morning in what is a fake Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. I mean, it's not, but it is, you know, like we're all off tomorrow. We got the 4th of July, all going to celebrate the birth of this wonderful country. We are all fortunate enough to share with each other. So we're just going to treat today like a Friday because, you know, Fridays get weird up in her.
All right, we're not all off, and we're grateful to the people who have to work. I've been there before. So, I mean, you know, but, you know, we're not one of you right now. We're off tomorrow. So
I don't do it anymore, and there's a handful of reasons for it, but at the beginning of my career, I would absolutely work federal holidays. I would work the holidays, and then I would take vacation days elsewhere, and I would work those days because I know there are people that can't have off those days. And if I could come in and talk about football and give them something to do as opposed to listen to generic national sports fill-in host X, who's broadcasting from a place you've never been and don't care to go and talking about sport topics you don't care about, then I was willing to do that. But due to a variety of reasons, that's not always an option here, unfortunately. So here's what I will say. All of the shows we've ever done are available on demand at thefanupstate.com. Go back, pick any given day from like the last couple of months that maybe you missed a couple of hours of, and wango bango, there you go.
And now, thanks to new policy, we are posting entire shows. So if you are on a long trip and you want to take us along with you, you can listen to the entire show back to back without having to flip through episode. Just turn it on and let it go for your entire trip.
Yep. You don't even have to pull over to the rest station, as all of you do when you fidget with your phone. You don't even have to pull over and stop. You just push play on the show. Pick your day. Pick a day that something interesting happened the night before. Pick the day you want to listen to. Go there, click play, and you got 4 hours of sports talk, entertainment excellence available at your fingertips.
So the voice still isn't entirely back yet.
No, but it's better than it was yesterday. And it'll be better tomorrow, even though you won't hear it, than it is today. And I anticipate by Friday actually got to get down on Friday. It's going to be a buck.
My wife was like, "You got a little loud yesterday." And I was like, "Yeah, I just wanted to out talk Rob for once."
Had the opportunity, had to take it.
Yeah, normally I don't do that, but you know, every once in a while you got to jump in there and show, "Hey, I could get loud too. I could actually get louder than that." But, you know.
Listen, as long as you were feeling the vibes. I'm team vibes, and you were bringing vibes yesterday.
I was about the argument. It wasn't about me trying to get loud. Oh, there's a little bit of that in there. I mean, I wouldn't mention it if there wasn't just a little bit, knowing that if we wanted to get in a shouting match, I'd win for once. Because that voice was not going to take a full.
I was like plus 175 on the betting line for that yesterday, for sure.
Not that I want to do that today or anything, because I still think I probably got a shot.
Also, what a week for me to decide to do 8 hours of radio every day.
Way to go, you.
Yeah. I like to grind, baby.
When national radio beckons, though, you got to do it.
I can't say no. It is. And I'm saying that. The fiance said that when I told her last week. I'm like, yo, FYI, I'm on the radio 3 to 7, as well as my show every day next week, with the exception of Thursday and Monday. I was off, although I did do the 4 hours on BetQ on Monday. I said Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm doing both shows. Thursday afternoon, I'm doing the BetQL show. And she goes, you just can't say no, can you? I was like, no, I can't. Why would I? Why would I deprive the people of an extra 4 hours of me? Why would I take away from America like that? That seems backwards.
I appreciate that because that's exactly what I was thinking. Why would you take that away from America?
I refuse to.
Man, that guy makes me mad.
Bro, okay. I'm not going to
every day.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say anything that is descriptive about it. But
makes me want to park further out, but that just puts it more in danger.
There is a, let's say, large truck that pulls into our parking lot every day in performance of a job detail that is done daily. And it's a big truck, okay? It's a big truck. And when it comes into our parking lot, it comes into our parking lot from the far side, and our parking lot's a big square, but there's 2 light poles in the middle. And so to wrap around back to where he's got to go with this truck to perform his required job activities, he comes hauling into the parking lot on a beeline at the back end of Lonzo's car. And then once he gets around the light pole and the little neutral ground where the trees are, he whips that thing over to the left and spins back around to the other side of the parking lot. And every day at about 6:06, when he comes barreling into the parking lot, every day, though it has never caused a problem, Lonzo's eyes get as big around as like milk saucers as he watches this truck that if it hit his car loses that fight every time.
Oh, for sure. And he doesn't need to come in as fast as look, and then he goes by it again on the way out. I mean, he's messing with me.
On the way out is not a concern. There's only so many places he can take that big ass truck.
Well, I guess you would have to go. Okay, I get the on the way out. And on the way out, he doesn't go as fast, but he comes barreling through there. One bug to the eye or something, and my car is history. And I'm in a rent-a-car or riding a bicycle, and I just stop it.
Yeah, he does. He does. And the sheer abject terror on Lonzo's face every day when it happens.
And if you're listening right now, sir, stop it. Just slow it down just a little, okay?
Yeah, because you're going to kill my producer. You're going to give him an actual heart attack one day.
Executive producer, co-host. Anyway, award-winning, by the way. I want to make sure. Many times. Not as many as Stoneman, as he's pointed out, and with his short form. And I do use that word on purpose. Or 2 words. Anyway, slow down, dude. I mean, you could be a part of the armada. I don't know. Maybe you're doing it on purpose, but stop.
I don't think he's out to get you, though. I don't think, because I know at least one thing: he's not watching the stream because he takes nothing from it. But my man does come in here. I'll tell you this: if I'm his boss, I'm pretty impressed because he's obviously getting work done in a hurry. My man is flying.
Oh, at least up to this point, skilled driver.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, we got a lot of stuff we got to get to on the radio program today. We are, of course, now going into day number 3 of NBA free agency, and there are a number of NBA players still available, and there are a number of teams that are still looking for specific players. My New Orleans Pelicans got to find a starting center. Jonas Valanciunas moved on from New Orleans. We don't have a big on the roster at all right now, and we're running out of time at that spot. It's interesting. We're going to talk about that coming up later on in the show, as well as taking a look at some of the bigger NBA free agency moves that have taken place so far, and we will address those. We will grade those out. We will give you the winners and losers, effectively, from the first couple of days of NBA free agency. I've got a couple of different fantasy football projections that I found yesterday evening about the Atlanta Falcons, about the Carolina Panthers that I would like to get into. Y'all know I love, when I am looking season preview, I love to go look at fantasy football projections because at the end of the day, fantasy football collections are just about the numbers, just about productions. We're not taking win-loss totals into effect. We're not taking playoff opportunities into effect. We are just looking at what the numbers are projected to be for players on these teams. And I think that you can then take those numbers and get a pretty solid idea for what an offense or defense is going to look like next year. So I'd like to do that later on in the radio program with the Falcons and the Panthers based on some fantasy football projections that I saw yesterday, and we will. I would like to get into, have you seen the, I'm sure at this point you can't not have, but the story going around about LeBron and Bronny's agent, Rich Paul, before the NBA draft? If you missed it, basically what went down, according to Bob Myers of ESPN, Shams was in on this, a lot of folks were reporting that Rich Paul, who is the agent from Clutch Sports that works for and with LeBron James, apparently got on the phone with multiple other NBA teams and said, if you draft Bronny James, he will not be playing for you. If you draft Bronny James, Bronny's going to go play in Australia. If you draft Bronny James, Bronny is going to play as far away from your team as he can possibly get. Now, there's some interesting aspects to that. One of which is, of course, they could go, okay, that's fine. He can go get some developmental years in Australia where he's going to make a lot less money and be a lot less famous because we're still going to own his draft rights. When he returns to the States, he will still be a member of our team. But on the flip side, there's another element to that because somebody asked me when I was talking about this on Tuesday before this story broke. Before the after the selection of Bronny, when the story broke about the phone calls from Rich Paul. I gotta ask, well, like, if they're gonna own the draft rights to Bronny, why would they not take Bronny James in that spot if he's a player that they wanted? And even if they wanted him just to try to lure LeBron in down the line. Well, the answer is, number one, I don't think anybody did want him, honestly. Like I heard JJ Redick had a comment in the introductory press conference of Bronny James.
Bronny, I want to clarify one thing you just said, which is Rob and I did not give Bronny anything. Bronny has earned this, right? Bronny talks about his hard work. Bronny has earned this through hard work. And for us, prioritizing player development, we view Bronny as like case study one because his base level of feel, athleticism, point of attack defender, shooting, passing, there's a lot to like about his game. And as we sort of build out our player development program holistically, he's going to have a great opportunity to become an excellent NBA player.
Like, okay, sure. Why not? What else is he going to say, right? Yeah, we'd like to congratulate Bronny James. We got LeBron's kid. Mission accomplished. We got LeBron's kid.
He could have said, hold on, let me see what LeBron says I should say. He could say, I mean, because that's what people seem to think. So
I mean, that's what people seem to think, and it's an absolutely fair thing to think. Are we pretending that it's not? Are we pretending they're drafting Bronny James if LeBron's not on that team? Are we pretending that for a second?
Oh, they're not.
I like make believe.
They absolutely did it because he's on that team.
Of course.
And they did it to keep him on that team. Although he hasn't signed yet, has he?
No, he's not. But he's going to. That dude's not going anywhere.
What if he didn't?
It'd be the funniest thing LeBron James has ever done in his entire life. What if he came out of the mic one day and he goes, after considering it, I'd like to give LeBron the opportunity to blossom into an excellent NBA player on his own. And so I've elected to sign with the Phoenix Suns.
Or gotcha, Lakers.
Yeah, right?
He got his son into the league. Now he's out. And he's going somewhere else.
I'm going to replace JJ on the pod. That's what I'm doing. Me and JJ are switching chairs. He's coming to the Lake Show. I'm going to Espen. I think that
he's going back to Cleveland.
Let's not go too far down the Maple Leaf Trail. He's there because LeBron wanted him there. The Lakers brought him there because LeBron wanted him there. And LeBron's going to be there because Bronny's there. That's all this went down. But the interesting thing here was not even, I think, that not even I think that this is all spurred on by LeBron James. Not even I think this was spurred on by Rich Paul or JJ Redick or Bob Pelinka or anybody else. The reason that teams didn't draft Bronny, aside from the fact that it's a high draft pick to waste on a guy who averaged 4.4 points in the Pac-12 last year, is because of the power that Rich Paul has in the league. Rich Paul runs Clutch Sports. The client list of Clutch Sports is effectively last year's all-star roster. Like everybody. Like every big name not every, but a huge number of big game superstars are represented by Rich Paul. And while this wasn't a part of the story, it was allegedly just that if you draft Bronny, he's not coming to play for you. It's Lakers or nobody. What Rich Paul does have the power to do is go and, BT Dubs. If you do go against what I'm saying right now as the Lord Littlefinger of the NBA, it's Game of Thrones reference.
I know. I know.
You gave the look. Just making sure.
No, it was about the reference more so
than
anything. Yeah.
As the Littlefinger of the NBA,
Rich Paul. That show is so old. So I mean,
it really is.
The fact that you're referencing that.
That
would be like me referencing something from the 70s.
It is not that old. What? Rich Paul as the Littlefinger of the NBA, what he can do in that spot is go, and by the way, if you do draft Bronny James, if you do take this guy at anywhere except 55 overall to the Lake Show, if you do go get him, you know who else doesn't sign for you at any time in the future? Any other player I represent, any other player that I negotiate for, any other player that comes onto the Clutch Sports roster. And this is one of those spots, great one. You know me. I'm a big free market guy over here. I'm a big let the chips fall where they may. Let people make money the best way they can make money. But does that not feel a little wrong? It kind of feels like it
This feels like business. I mean, it's out front. We're seeing it more, but that kind of stuff happens all the time.
It does. And I don't like it. There's something about it that feels dirty to me. Hey, if you don't let LeBron James have his way, then I will make sure that you have no access to top-notch players for your basketball team for the near future. What if the Pellies decided that they wanted Bronny because they needed a shooting guard on the roster? And they do. And they went ahead and took him at 52. And then Rich goes, not only do you not get that guy, but no Clutch Sports guys are coming to you in the future. My team just took a huge hit. Why? Because we wanted a draft-eligible player? Doesn't that feel kind of dirty? We're going to talk about that later on in the broadcast. We got some NFL to get to on the show today. We're like 60 days from college football, dude. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Yeah, less than that for pro football, though, especially if you're okay with watching preseason, which I absolutely am.
I am. I'm going to watch every game, and I watch it as an analyst, but we've seen the numbers. Pro football preseason does not move the needle.
I don't care about the numbers. I only care about me. So I'm excited about it.
That's fair. That is how I live most of my life. It came up on my Spotify list yesterday for a long time. Good Charlotte. It was very random.
Heard of them, couldn't name a song.
This is the anthem. Throw all your hands up. Yeah. I don't want to be just like you.
I sent you that spot I was talking about on NXT on video. It's because I really need you to watch this. Apparently, I wasn't the only one disturbed by it.
In the words of Randy Orton, stupid, stupid, stupid. Oh, God.
Exactly. Exactly. I thought she was done. I thought would have to stop the show. That did not. I mean, obviously she was supposed to move. I don't think she was supposed to land like that.
Face
Yeah.
first, dude.
Yeah.
Pause. Let me see. Because now that I'm looking at it,
I think she hit the plate part of the back of the chair with her forehead, but I could be wrong.
she does, dude. She hits the it looks like, because I thought she stopped herself with her hands and kind of held her head back, but now that I'm looking at it, her head snaps back, dude.
Yeah.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo with it. Here's what I really find interesting about this Rich Paul thing. And I will start by acknowledging that there are very few agents that have the amount of pull that Rich Paul has. There's just not a lot of them. But there are a few. Remember for a few years there in the NFL, Lonzo, Drew Rosenhaus was everybody's agent. Everybody who was a Pro Bowler was represented by Drew Rosenhaus.
Especially, was it T.O.?
T.O.
Yeah.
That's my quarterback, man. T.O.'s workout out in the driveway that day. I mean, out there just doing crunches on the pavement like it's no big deal. That was the Rosenhaus era. And Drew Rosenhaus was the power player in the NFL. Now, there's not a lot of Rich Pauls out there because there's a lot of money to be spread around between a lot of teams. But there are a few of them. And that's why this is really interesting to me, because I wonder what this does for the future of other sports. We have seen some big-time players get into the game. He's in trouble now for doing it, but Pitbull launched a sports agency at one point. Mr. Worldwide launched a sports agency at one point. Who was the other? There was another rapper that lost it. Was it Jay-Z? Jigga, I think, did it. I think Jigga did it. I think Lil Wayne's got a sports agency up and running right now. Yeah, Jay-Z. Yeah, Rock Nation Sports. That's it. Thank you very much for that text. Good call. Rock Nation's up. Young Money is up. That's Lil Wayne. No Limit Sports. Master P is in the game right now, right? Like, we're seeing a lot of these pop up. And as more young players enter into the game and guys like Jay-Z and Lil Wayne and I guess Master P have time to learn how the game works and gain more influence in the world. Because it's one thing if Wayne comes and says, I want to be your agent to a draft pick, because that's Lil Wayne, right? You all saw the influence that guy had when he was showing up at Colorado games last year. And all of a sudden, there were a lot of highly touted recruits that started getting more interested in Colorado. The influence that guys like that have, is immense around young players. And I'm sure this is probably to some degree true of every generation, though just with different genres. But as guys like that get more invested and more knowledgeable and more experienced, and they start gaining more influence because Jay-Z works out a fantastic deal for some rookie somewhere that signed on with him, and now some older vets are going, oh, that's dope, and I get to be friends with Jay-Z? That sounds great. You could start seeing the potential. Jay-Z, for a hot minute, was one of the most influential people on the planet, right? Right around the he and Beyonce power couple in their early stages day. Jay-Z was one of the most influential people on planet Earth. So if a guy like that started winning over young players coming out of college, going to the NFL, going to the NBA, whatever, I could see one of these guys becoming a sports agency mogul and having the influence that a Rosenhaus or a Rich Paul has had in years gone by. And if that turns into the case, I have said before, one of the hard things to accept is that without some sort of governmental oversight, capitalism leads to monopoly. It's inevitable. It is an inevitable reality that capitalism leads to a monopoly without some sort of governmental regulation. I'm not saying overregulation. I'm not saying the bureaucrat should run everything. But the belief that pure unbridled capitalism is good is a wrong assumption, just like the exact opposite. Pure unbridled communism, socialism, whatever, is a bad thing. The reality is, if you want an economic system to work, it's got to be somewhere in the middle. It's got to have traits of both, right? So when I translate that down into a sports conversation, specifically about agents, in years gone by, the discussion about draft power plays was always what? John Elway, Eli Manning, Bo Jackson, guys that called their shot. Eli Manning saying, you can draft me, but I'm not playing for you. And forcing the Chargers. Remember when Eli got up on the stage and he had the Chargers jersey and put on the Chargers hat, when we all knew good and damn well he was never going to play a down for that team?
The first point that I realized that I don't like Eli Manning, yes. He's just annoying. He's grown on me later, but then cannot stand him.
A lot of people couldn't. A lot of people couldn't because a lot of people had that mindset of, you are fortunate to be an NFL player. You play where you're drafted, like everybody else.
No, that was a thing where Daddy wanted him to play somewhere else. At least that was the perception that
was the perception.
And Daddy got what he wanted.
I mean, Daddy is football royalty, all right? You shan't speak ill of Archie. You're not going to do it. But it wasn't just them. Bo Jackson did it with the Buccaneers back in '86. He said, don't draft me. I'm going to play baseball. You'll be wasting a pick. And there was a belief at the time that it wasn't so much that he did want to play football as he didn't want to play football for Tampa Bay. But they drafted him anyway, and he didn't show up. He went back into the pool. He ended up getting drafted by the Raiders the next year. I am interested in what the response from leagues is going to be here. Because on one hand, there's something about the concept of a draft. We want to spread talent around the league, right? But the more I thought about it, the more I thought about this Rich Paul situation, so I cooked up a little bit of a hot take. I'd be willing to bet in the next 20 years, drafts aren't a thing anymore. I'd be willing to bet in 20 years, drafts aren't a thing anymore. I'd be willing to bet that in the next 20 years, when a season comes to its end, players just go into free agency. They just become free agents. And they become free agents who enter into the free agency pool and they will go up onto the free agency block at the same time as everybody else. Because the more you have these Rich Paul situations, the more pointless the draft becomes. And it's certainly not widespread yet. It's only a couple of guys here and there.
Maybe in basketball. There's no way you could do that in football with the amount of draft picks. There are less draft picks in basketball. So you could possibly pull it off there, but I don't think you'd do that in the NFL.
Why? For every guy that gets drafted, somebody in the league loses their job already?
Because of how big the NFL draft has become TV-wise and the money from that, they will do everything they can to make sure that doesn't happen.
Oh, they absolutely will. They absolutely will. But I also don't wonder if there's not a point sometime down the line where you have a couple more Eli Manning situations spurred on by guys like Rich Paul, by guys like Drew Rosenhaus who go out there and go, yeah, Chicago, we know you have the number 1 overall pick. But Caleb Williams does not want to play there, so don't draft him. Now, there is one thing that hurts the argument for this in the NFL, and the thing that hurts the argument for this in the NFL, obviously, is the fact that as of right now, there's no I'm going to Australia threat like there was with Bronny. But I kind of wonder, and I'm not the only one, because Mike Florio put up an article about this on Pro Football Talk. I talked about this on Monday's show on You Better You Bet with PJ Glasser. I said, look at the NBA. I'm to the point now where if we're keeping it a buck, the NBA draft is kind of pointless now, right? Everybody's all up in arms that Bronny James got drafted because of the nepotism and the this and the that, and that's all well and good. Hey, quick trivia question. I've asked you this every day this week that I've been on, which is 2 of them. Who got drafted 54th? Who got drafted 56th? Who got drafted 57th, 58th? Name me one of them off the top of your head. Who got drafted 58th in this year's NBA draft? And then I would go one step further, because I think PJ asked me this when I said that, and it's a very valid point. Hey, Lonzo, who got drafted 10th in the NBA draft? Right? Like, it's not the same.
Well, but I don't pay attention to the NBA draft usually until this year, because I was curious about Bronny, because a lot of those guys don't play right away. I mean, the top 5 or 6 do. It's not like the NFL. When you get drafted in the NBA, there is developmental.
There absolutely is.
It's probably like the later rounds of the NFL. Like, people don't pay attention to that unless they're just looking who went from my team.
Here's what Florio wrote here. Here's what Florio write words. He said, quote, as more players who are making more money in college make it to the draft, they'll become less bashful about telling teams how it's going to be, about bucking the outdated notion that it's an honor and a privilege to be on the wrong end of the pro football Harry Potter sorting hat, sent to a place they don't want to live to play for a team they don't want to join. It's overdue. It's inevitable. I'm rooting for it, in part because I love a good story, and in part because we've seen NFL careers derailed by starting out with a dysfunctional organization. If that happens to enough dysfunctional organizations, maybe they'll make a real effort to no longer be dysfunctional. Football people complain from time to time about players who seem entitled. Frankly, nothing says entitled like a crappy franchise taking solace in the fact that failure gives them automatic dibs on the best of the best incoming players. And I think he's spot on with that, dude. I think he's spot on.
He said Harry Potter.
He did use a Harry Potter reference. It just tells me that the world of sports broadcasting heavily occupied by secret nerds who sometimes let it out. Not me and Zoe. We're just open nerds. We don't care. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
Loud and proud, nerds speak out. It looks like Friday.
It does look like Friday. You're not wrong. GB, what's up? I am a NOLA, people. That's why I call it that. That's all I've ever called it. It's a neutral ground, man. That's all I've ever called it. Trey, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Yeah, fingers crossed, I actually may come out on Friday. I can't promise it. I might come out on Friday. I got something going on that's gonna hold me back, but we'll see. Give me 30 seconds. Crash cam.
So, where does one go to buy an ascot if you wanted an ascot?
Smith and James.
I
I bet you can get one on Amazon.
Do they come in different shapes and sizes?
Not shapes, but sizes. Ascot is it's like a scarf. Like you can probably get bigger ones or smaller ones.
Well, I mean, neck is really large, so ascot has to be a little bit bigger.
I like the thought of an ascot, though.
No, I'm thinking ascot and captain hat. I've really been considering that, but I don't know. I don't know if captain hat is too far. But
Not really. That's more of like a yacht brunch kind of, or a marina brunch kind of thing.
So that's not a garden party. That's a yacht party.
I would say you would be better off with like a what do they call the Cuban style hats?
Well, when you look
like
up
a fedora,
yeah, when you look up garden party, it's like straw hats, but they look like fedoras. Yeah.
Wait here, I'm gonna send you one from LL Bean. That would be perfect.
Wow, LL Bean.
I love LL Bean.
Don't believe I've ever purchased anything from LL Bean.
Basically double or nothing. You earn, we match. Discover cashback match. See terms at discover.com/credit.
Yeah, I've seen things like that. I actually wore a version of that from Walmart, which cost me like $10, I think, when it was Kentucky Derby as the thing, as the theme. Really, garden party is a combination of Kentucky Derby and
Derby is actually
Margaritaville.
a good way to think about it. I would say it's like Kentucky Derby, but you're encouraged to do more pastels and florals. But Kentucky Derby is a good starting spot.
I keep mentioning linens, though. I just don't know if I'm a linen guy. Raven said you need to buy some khakis. Like, no, nah. we've been down that road.
You don't necessarily need khakis would work. But
I may go khaki like, but I'm not going khaki just out of protest. We know why. Although if he was there, I would go, hey, look at my khakis.
Texas says, in my opinion, LeBron's kids are going to be like Jordan's kids playing basketball. It's a story now. In 5 years, no one will care because he's not NBA talent.
Yeah, but we've seen second generation players come in and do pretty good.
Sure.
Like Larry Nance Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not top notch, but he's had a pretty good career.
And he's more than good enough. That's why Atlanta was willing to send DeJounte Murray down to New Orleans to get him. For sure. That's why it was an acceptable trade, him and Dyson Daniels. I will say a couple of things. First off, I want to be clear. I do not necessarily believe that Bronny James is going to be an NBA success or failure. I will say this. If anybody's ever been set up to be an NBA success, Bronny James is that guy. Think about the developmental program that he's got in place for him. Not only is his dad arguably, I'm not trying to have the argument, but arguably the greatest basketball player in the history of basketball. If he's not, even if you're a LeBron hater, you're not putting him below like 4, right? Like he's a top 5 all-time player. Even if you don't like
the
him.
real haters will tamp him down as far as they can get him, but you can't go out of top 5.
You can't go out of top 5. Michael Kobe, maybe you'd want to throw Magic in there above LeBron. I'm not going to. I'm a big Oscar Robertson guy. Like maybe you would throw the big O in there. I don't think so. But I would say you cannot put LeBron any farther down than top 5 all time. I don't care how you feel about him personally. I don't care how you feel about his attitude on or off the floor. You can't knock him down lower than top 5 player of all time. So Bronny James has been quite literally raised by one of the top 5 players in the history of the game. Bronny James has had access to coaching and resources that very few college players ever do. And now that he is a Laker, now that the Lakers have spent the draft pick on him, oh, by the way, Bronny's rookie contract, because there's no point in joining him, of drafting him if he's not on the team, right? Bronny's contract guarantees him a place on the active roster in the regular season. Guarantees him a place. I'm trying to think, but I can't recall that ever being a thing before, that a rookie contract guaranteed a guy a spot on the active NBA in-season, regular season roster. I can't think of one. I'm not saying it's never happened, but I can't think of it. Why would they do that? So he's on the floor with LeBron. So he's on the same court. He's on the same bench as LeBron. Of course, like this isn't shocking anybody, but it is, to me, it is very interesting. So you also have to consider the Lakers, because Bronny is guaranteed a spot. They don't want to. Remember, all of this discussion, all of this debate, all of the politicking, all of the phone calls, all of the moves, all done with one thing on the mind of the LA Lakers. This is not a Lakers segment. This really is a future of the sport segment, but you got to go through the Lakers setup to get there. All of this was done so that the Lakers could keep LeBron James on the team. I've already told you why that's important. I don't care if LeBron's going to be 40 next season. LeBron is still, if I asked you to power rank players in the NBA, LeBron James is still a top 10 player in the NBA. Anybody disagree with that? Top 10 player in the league. So, if he is a top 10 player in the NBA, the Lakers are doing all of this to keep a top 10 player in the NBA on the roster. Because the reality is, a lot of the guys that are there, if LeBron James leaves, they're going to want out too. If LeBron James leaves, the Lakers instantly enter hard reboot. Hard reboot. Turn Canadian there for a second.
Yeah, every once in a while.
A reboot.
Every once in a while you go Canadian. And it just has me worried
I don't know where that came from.
that you've been fooling us all along and you're not from Florida or New Orleans. You're actually from Canada.
That's why I wear short sleeves in the winter. The Lakers go hard reboot when LeBron James leaves, whether it's this year or next.
Yeah. Aren't they trying to set up some things? I mean, they're grabbing some pieces. I don't know.
They are, but I mean, they're all complimentary to LeBron James, right? They're not bringing another star.
It's that abnormal to any other star being on a team.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Just so we're clear, not at all. With the exception that LeBron James is 40 years old. He's got his one season with his boy now. Does he go more than one season? It seems like it's a lot in mortgaging the future to keep the window open for 1, maybe 2 more years with LeBron James, which is understandable.
Oh, for sure. If they were to win the championship, which is not completely out of the realm of possibility, if they were able to win a championship, he's gone.
100%.
Because he wins another championship and he wins it with his son.
100%. There's no question about that.
So if he signs with the Lakers, which he hasn't done yet, but if he does, he's probably not going anywhere else. When he leaves, he's probably leaving the game.
Yeah, he's a Laker till he's out. Mainly because Bronny's a Laker until he's out. So the Lakers, all of this to circle back around to where I started, which is that the Lakers are going to heavily invest in the production of Bronny. And I know that people have been, and even I have been running on and on about the fact that Bronny averaged less than 5 points a game for USC. But let's not forget, Bronny almost died. And that's not me being, dark humor funny. He literally almost died. He literally almost died. And when he came back to the Trojans, he missed like half the season, my dudes. He missed like half the season. So that 5.5, that 4.5, well, over 4.5, let's say almost 5 per game. Well, no, it was 4.5. Well, 4.4, I think. That 4.4 a game that he put up was effectively with no preseason, no offseason, and no first half of the regular season. That was pulled together on the fly, right? I'm not saying he's one of the best players in the draft. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. If he was that, the Lakers would have grabbed him with the first overall pick, not the 55th. But what I will say is there's a lot of potential in Bronny James. And by the way, when LeBron leaves, when LeBron retires, do you think LeBron's just going to suddenly stop coaching Bronny? Do you think he's going to suddenly stop being involved? Do you think he's going to suddenly stop working with the Lakers to make sure he's developed? No. No, of course he's not. You can say many things about LeBron James. You can say stuff about his political views. You can say stuff about his business dealings and aspects of his life away from the basketball court. But one thing you can't say about the guy, from what we know, he's never been anything but a stellar husband and father. Right? Like there, you can knock him on his politics. All right? And that's okay. We all get our views. He's got his, you've got yours. You can knock him on his business dealings. The whole thing with China and Tibet and the Space Jam movie. I got to tell you, even as a Bron stan, I felt a little dirty with all that, right? I'm like, LeBron, is that worth it? Is it worth it, dog? Is it worth it? But one thing you can't do is question him as a father and a husband. That we are aware of. LeBron has never been caught cheating. And let's call it what it is. LeBron's a dude that if he leaves his front door, has got 1,000 cameras capturing every move he makes. There's no secreting around for LeBron James. If LeBron James farts in public, it's on TMZ Sports in 5 seconds. It's unavoidable. Not got caught cheating. Has, from everything we understand, been an excellent father, constantly showing up at his kids' games. And by the way, not just showing up at his kids' games, but like not being disruptive at his kids' games, right? You'd think a guy like LeBron would be very tempted to go over to a coach coaching one of his kids and be like, yo, what are we doing here? I'm LeBron James. I know this game. What are you doing, guy? Hadn't done that. Shows up, supports his kids, signs the autographs and takes the pictures for the teams that his kids are beating up on, and then leaves. So LeBron's not just going to step away suddenly when he leaves basketball. He's going to keep helping to develop Bronny. So the reason Bronny James has gotten away with it, I don't want to say gotten away with it because it makes it sound like Bronny James did something wrong. I don't think he did. He orchestrated a way for him to be on a basketball team with his old man. I'm going to tell you right now, if I was in Bronny James' shoes, I'd have done the exact same thing.
But this is something we've all seen coming when he declared for the draft. I mean, it would have been a shocker if he hadn't been drafted by the Lakers.
I don't disagree. I think the shocker is the phone calls from Rich Paul, right? I think the shocker is that the most powerful agent in basketball is on the horn to other teams going, do not draft this kid. He is not coming to play for you. But again, if I was Bronny, I'd have done the same thing. I'd give everything in this world that I own to spend 10 minutes talking with my dad again, right? Yes, I would have done anything for that. So I'm not upset with Bronny at all. I'm not even upset with LeBron. The Rich Paul thing, like I said, it makes me feel a little gross because two things happen now. Number one, if you're an agent, if you're a player and you're looking for an agent, or hell, even if you're not looking for an agent, but Rich Paul calls and goes, I got room for another guy under my umbrella. Are you in? You telling me you're going to say no to that guy? That guy's got the power to quite literally manipulate the draft. The draft. Where a team, and in an era where NBA teams are trying to follow the Celtic way and start to develop teams, start to develop players, right?
Maybe you don't take the call.
How do you not take the call?
Just don't answer it.
Right, but like there's voicemails and text messages. Rich goes, cool, GM of the Hornets, Mavericks, whatever. You didn't answer my call. That's fine. I'm going to text you. Here's the text. If you draft Bronny, he's going to Australia. He's not going to play for you. He'll let the rights run out, and then he'll come back and play somewhere else. My man's got the ability to manipulate the draft, or at least he's got the image that he can manipulate the draft. So if I'm a player that is looking to get the most economic impact out of my career, why in the world would I sign up to have anybody but Rich Paul as my agent? And if Rich Paul ends up building a roster that is half the NBA All-Star team, and he's already got the power to manipulate the draft, as he just did, or at least it feels like, and then he ends up with half the NBA All-Star roster under his umbrella, what more power can he get? That man could I know I kind of jokingly called him the little finger of the NBA earlier. It's not really a joke at that point. At that point, that man can pretty much call his shots, right? He can marry Sansa Stark off to Lord Greyjoy. I'm going deep into the Game of Thrones plot here.
Yeah, I recognize the last name, the Stark thing. So,
yeah. Sansa was Ned Stark's oldest daughter, the redhead. She would go on to eventually be the Warden of the North while Jon Snow was off with Daenerys Targaryen, preparing to fight the White Walkers, while also threatening a two-front assault on King's Landing, which is where Cersei Lannister was. After Joffrey and Tommen took their, were dealt with Game of Thrones style. There's a lot of lore here. The point is, that man could become the Lord Littlefinger of the NBA, and I don't know how you stop it at that point, because you've let it go on long enough that trying to create rules against it would end up in litigation that I don't think the NBA can win. So I don't know. I don't know how this plays out. I don't know which direction this goes. Texter said, you don't draft Bronny and never have an intention to use, or you draft Bronny, never have an intention to use him and make the Lakers trade more for him. Like, yeah, sure. Except for, even if a lot of guys in that range don't go on to be NBA superstars, what did I say won the Boston Celtics the NBA Finals this year? Depth.
You do not draft Bronny with no intention. You draft Bronny because LeBron's free agent and you think you can get him to come to your team.
Absolutely.
That's why the threats had to be made.
But all of that has been worked under the assumption that LeBron would have been willing to leave the Lakers to go to whoever drafted Bronny. And I don't necessarily know that that's true. Remember, this is about legacy for LeBron too. What's LeBron want to do when he gets out of basketball? Wants to be a Hollywood megastar, right? Wants to be an actor, wants to be an agent, wants to be a producer. He's in LA. That's the place for it. He may not have wanted to leave. But I simply ask the question, are we good ending up in a spot that an agent has the ability to manipulate the draft, which in my opinion leads to him having the ability to manipulate free agency to a ridiculous degree, and therefore the league itself? Could this be the end of the NBA draft because of it? We'll find out. I'm Rob Brown. He's Lonzo, and he is about to charm your pants off, maybe literally, with his sports flash.
It's not necessary. If you want to, I mean, that's up to you. The Atlanta Braves dropped the first of a 3-game set against the Giants yesterday, 5-3. Ronaldo Lopez worked 4.1 innings, surrendering a pair of earned runs, while San Francisco rookie Hayden Birdsong earned the win. Former Brave Jorge Soler recorded one of the 3 Giants home runs, while the Braves generated just 6 hits on the night. Atlanta is now 46-37, 9 games back of Philadelphia. The Charlotte Hornets all-time points leader Kemba Walker announced his retirement from the game in a social media post yesterday. Walker won a national championship at UConn and was a 4-time All-Star after being drafted 9th overall by Charlotte in 2011. Hey, tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a lot of fun. Wire to Wire. Wiggly Wiggly.
Did I pick up the entire cell phone stand and bring it because I'm a gigantic?
I don't know. It's like carrying the top part of the mic stand.
Yeah, just
mic around.
yeah.
Like who used to? Was that?
You know what I got this past weekend? I got a mic stand that has the squeezy handle to raise it up and down, right? Except for I learned that if you squeeze the handle and you pull it up, it comes all the way out.
Right.
So
That's
now
what
I'm
I
a
was talking
Freddie
about.
Mercury stand.
That's who it was. Freddie
Yeah.
Mercury. I was thinking of trying to figure out. And it's also a ready-made weapon in case someone storms the stage. But you got to be smooth with it. You got to flip it around with one hand, and then suddenly you've got yourself a weapon.
Well, so when I went down there, the band had picked up some new wireless mics. So I've always used a wired mic because I move around the stage, but I don't, when I'm doing songs, if I've ever left it, I've grabbed my lead singer's wireless mics, but he has his level set for his in-ear monitors. So I was just kind of like, I'd have to go out into the crowd and listen to the main mix, which is hard to do, right? So with the new one, I'm able to set my own mix, which was great, except for the mic is a little bit skinnier than normal mic. So it went in the mic clip, and the first time that I was holding it by the end and I dropped it down while I was looking at the crowd, the mic went out of the mic, and I had to pick it up. Yes, Jacob. Happy fake Friday.
Be safe out there, people. We don't need a Pierre Paul incident. Keep all your digits.
Keep all the digits.
QC in the first break. Are you a fireworks guy? Do you like setting off fireworks?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is, I don't like this. Yesterday evening, I was going to a website that I frequent as I am doing my show prep. And, you know, I'm starting to get ready. We're going to roll out on the show as we do every year. We're going to roll out our preseason conference previews and predictions. Lonzo and I will, as we do every year, we will start to go conference by conference and give you our thoughts, give you who we like and who we don't, who we think are contenders, who we think are pretenders, etc. And so I went and I was looking at last year's end of the season individual conference standings, just to kind of like start building the previews out, because again, we're like 6 weeks away from football at this point. That's a little longer than that, but not much. Like what? I guess about 8 weeks out now. Anyway, I went and looked at the conference standings from last year, and I don't know what inspired me to do this. I think I just wanted to see what the expanded ACC, what the expanded Big Ten look like when you have all the teams put together on a list for the first time. Because the standings charts for 2024 is the first time you see the Big Ten listed with Oregon State and USC and UCLA and Washington included. And then I went and I looked at the Southeastern Conference because it's the first time that it's been listed with Texas and Oklahoma added in as teams in the SEC. And right above the SEC, where it has obviously all the teams, including the new ones, is the official season standings, Lonzo, for the Pac-12 with 2 teams on it, Oregon State and Washington State. That's it. That's the list. And, you know, I have probably been, to some of you, almost obnoxious with the get over it stuff. Like this is the inevitability. That I said in the last show in the last hour, as we do the philosophy and sports show on the Fan Upstate, the inevitable outcome of unbridled, unchecked, unregulated capitalism is monopoly. That's not a question. That's a statement. He who has the gold makes the rules, and very rarely in history do you find somebody that has the gold that makes rules that benefit not him, right? Very rarely do you see somebody that has the gold make a rule that make it harder for them to maintain and get more of the gold. The Pac-12 is the proof of that. I don't know, man. Like, I'm a big get over it. It's still college football guy. But for some reason last night, and maybe it's just because sometimes I'm an absolute emotional, seeing the Pac-12 official standings with just 2 teams in it while looking right below it to the SEC with a bunch more and the Big Ten with a bunch more, Zoe, in a weird way, kind of made me a little sad.
Well, you know, in the Pac-2, if you're not first, you're last.
Holy crap. Holy crap.
You're welcome.
Holy crap. Lonzo just came up with the entire marketing strategy for everybody except the Pac-2. The Pac-2, if you're not first, you're last. Incredible. That's one of the best lines you've dropped in 3 years. That's great work.
I don't need to take a bow. That's what I do, man.
That's great work. That is above and beyond, even for you, great one. That's phenomenal.
Lonzo is a superstar.
It is 7:05 in the morning. You're less than an hour from having to check in. The good news, it's fake Friday. Got to get down on Friday. Bad news is you're still going to work today. Still got to get to the office today. Still got to work today. Still got to pull it together today. And that means you're going to be talking sports at the office. And if you're going to be talking sports at the office, you need to know what's going on in the world of sports. And if you need to know what's going on in the world of sports, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworker saying, "What kind of place is this?" Bathroom break.
No.
Here we go.
Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
The water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office this AM and start talking sports with your coworkers. When you have those conversations, these 3 items are what those conversations are going to be about. Let us begin, ladies and gentlemen, with item number 1. Aces coach Becky Hammon in the WNBA said that team officials asked her a few days ago about moving Tuesday's game with the Indiana Fever to the larger T-Mobile Arena, an NBA arena. Her only question was, can we make money? They said, yeah, and she said, move it. The result, a sellout crowd of 20,366, the 5th largest crowd in WNBA history and the largest regular season crowd at a WNBA game since 1999. The crowd on hand of over 20,300 watched the Aces defeat the Fever 88-69 on the back of a season-high 34 points from Kelsey Plum. Indiana has become accustomed to big crowds both at home and on the road. Caitlin Clark effect is real. Helped the Fever drive up their attendance. Sunday's Fever Mercury game in Phoenix drew 17,071 fans, the largest crowd at a Mercury game since 1997. There have been, in the history of the WNBA, only 8 games to draw at least 20,000 fans. 4 of them came in the opening 2 years of the league, 97, 98, and 99. There were 2 from 2000 to 2023. The other 2 have both come this year, both Fever games, Tuesday night and June 7th at Washington, when the Fever and Mystics drew 20,333 overall. The Aces typically play at Michelob Ultra Arena at Mandalay Bay in Vegas, which holds about 12,000. They have had a few games in previous seasons at T-Mobile, which is where the Golden Knights play. They will play there again on September 3rd when Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky come to town. But the number is real. The Caitlin Clark effect is real. And if that number itself wasn't enough to prove it, well, let's look at the WNBA All-Star Game, of which Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have officially been named members, both of them making the WNBA All-Star Game this year. You want to know how you know the effect is real, that this is not a flash in the pan? All-Star voting happened. Last year's All-Star votes were led by Aja Wilson, who got just over 95,500 votes. Brianna Stewart got 87,500. Brittany Griner, 72,500. Aaliyah Boston, 72,300. Jackie Young, 63,200. give or take a few dozen here and there. Last year's top all-star vote getter from the public, Lonzo, Angel Wilson with 95,860. This year's Caitlin Clark with 700,700 votes.
Never heard of her.
That, and I did the research during the break. I got out the abacus. I did a little algebra. It turns out, and this is true, I can now verify it. I went to the MIT website, checked it out there. They confirmed it. 700,735 is more than 95,860 by a term that we use in math sometimes, a lot.
We use in math.
It's about as high level math as I get. About as high level math as I get is 95,000 more or less than 700,000?
How did Angel Reese do? Because she said we're here too, and she made the team, right?
Angel Reese got the 5th most all-star votes at 381,518. She checked in behind Brianna Stewart, who got 424,000, and Aja Wilson, who got 607,000, and Aaliyah Boston, who got 618,000. That is 5,432, checking in behind Caitlin Clark. Now, what I will say is this. I'm a little disappointed because this is a popularity contest. But at the same time, I'm not disappointed because you know what else is a popularity contest? Everything, anytime you let fans vote. That's just what it is. All right. Now, I will say, for instance, like MLB's All-Star race this year is kind of interesting. Bryce Harper was the number 1 vote getter in the first round, which is, I don't know if Bryce Harper is up there along with the Shohei Ohtanis as most popular player in the game. But Bryce Harper, pre the injury that he is dealing with now, is having a season for the freaking ages, man. He's unbelievable right now.
They just had to change camera angles of Wimbledon because there was a spider crawling across the camera. It was wild.
TV's weird, man.
It looks so big. So all those people saying that, you know, that Caitlin Clark popularity is overhyped is the wrong, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The Caitlin Clark effect is real. And as much as I appreciate the contributions of Angel Reese, hell, of Aaliyah Boston, of Aja Wilson, etc., Caitlin Clark is a star. She's just a star. That's just all it is. She is a star.
Yeah, good for Angel Reese, though. She's a rookie, and she made the All-Star team.
For sure. For sure. And again, I don't know how many times I have to say it. Caitlin Clark is still a great basketball player. She plays on an awful team. There's a reason that the Indiana Fever were able to draft Caitlin Clark. It's because they were the worst team in the league last year. Item number 2. A national champion at UConn, a 4-time NBA All-Star, and a dude whose name is written all over the history books of the Charlotte Hornets. Kemba Walker has called it a career. Drafted into the league in the 2011 NBA draft by the then Charlotte Bobcats, a year after leading UConn to a natty. Walker started out in 2011, improved year by year until he became an all-star for the first time in 2016-17. Was an all-star again each of the next 2 years, including a 2018-19 season where he averaged a career-best 25.5 points per game and was named to the All-NBA third team. He did end up going to play with the Boston Celtics, moved there in a sign and trade deal with Charlotte, did make the All-Star game his first year in Boston, but injuries started to derail that momentum shortly after that. However, it is the time in Charlotte that I think Kemba Walker is going to be remembered for. Not only does he hold the record to this day for most points scored by a member of that franchise, but he also ends his NBA career as the Hornets' all-time leader in points, all-time leader in three-pointers, all-time leader in wins, all-time leader in minutes played. He is also second in assists. He is also third in steals. He is also third in games played. And he, as a guard, was 8th all-time in rebounds for the Charlotte Hornets. Kemba Walker put out his announcement yesterday that he is stepping away from the game with a tweet that he said, "Thank you, basketball," followed by a nice little open letter about his love of the game. Kemba Walker, one of the most important Bobcats / Hornets in the history of that franchise, stepping away after a very long and very distinguished career. Let's get item number 3. Went back and forth on this one, but it's big to me, especially after the announcement yesterday that Major League Baseball was shifting up the rules of the MLB All-Star Home Run Derby, which, by the way, this is the biggest if it ain't broke, don't fix it in sports this year, right? The Derby is fun. I asked Lonzo yesterday, can I get you in on the Derby? And Lonzo's response was, you don't have to get me in. I'm already in. I already tune in. That's great. I agree. I'm the same way. It's one of my favorite things of All-Star Weekend. It is something that I spend a lot of time watching. I love the Derby. Just go back to the outs, all right? You get 10 outs. You swing it as any ball you want. Let any ball you want to go, let go. You get 10 outs. All of that being said, the Derby works its best when the biggest sluggers in the game are in it, right? Lonzo may not tune in and necessarily get hyped that Pete Alonso's in it.
Actually, I would, because he's got Lonzo.
Okay,
so.
Polar Bear is not the best example there. He might not tune in and get super jacked that Aaron Judge actually would, because Aaron Judge is a gigantic monster
that's
of a person.
Large man, yes.
He's a huge person. Lonzo may not get jacked up that Anthony Santander is in it.
Is he?
I don't know yet. But he is 4th in Major League Baseball in home runs right now. One of the better masters on the field, right? So the point here is, I suspect, even if he's not a big baseball guy, Lonzo knows who Shohei Ohtani is.
Absolutely.
Knows who Aaron Judge is.
Know him, yes.
Know who Marcell Ozuna is.
Mm-hmm.
Knows who Juan Soto is.
That's a Soto.
So Juan Soto is. These things work best when the biggest stars in the game are in it. They work best when the biggest stars participate. And I got a response to something Diesel said yesterday that I want to get to in just a little while as well, about something similar to this. Shohei Ohtani officially out of the home run derby. He is continuing his rehab after his elbow surgery so that he can get back on the bump and win a Cy Young next season. So he is officially out of the home run derby. And I do kind of wonder if the rule change maybe inspired him a little bit, because he had been saying he was interested and he was considering it. And now all of a sudden he's right back out. I am kind of wondering if maybe there's something about the rule change that might be driving players away from participating in this. We'll talk more about it later on in the radio broadcast. Rob, Lonzo, and you. It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you.
New life next break.
10-4. New life next break. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It's the Fan Upstate. Joey sent a text to the show, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. He said the top 12 in home runs for the season as of July 1st should be invited to the Derby each year. I actually love that idea. I really do. I think that is a spectacular idea. I think that not only does it ensure that you have a mix of stars, but it also makes sure that you have a list of stars and potentially some young guys that you can get some exposure. MLB needs to continue to do a better job of promoting their stars. I think most sports do. I think the NBA, honestly, does it best. But that is also because basketball is a world where a team sport can be dominated by individual performances that a team complements, right? I think football does a pretty good job of it. The NFL does a pretty good job of it, right? Now, the problem I think they bump into is that they're like always promoting the same stars, right? I'm watching advertisements for NFL football right now, and it's like Josh Allen. Here's Josh Allen. Here's Patrick Mahomes. He's doing every commercial, right? It's the same stars. So it's hard to generate new interest. We all know who Pat Mahomes is. We all know who Josh Allen is. Who's next? Who's the next guy? I don't think baseball does a good enough job of it. Now, baseball, about the best promotion of stars you get out of baseball right now, in my opinion, is when they are promoting an upcoming weekend game. And they're like, Aaron Judge and the Yankees do battle with Pete Alonso and the Mets coming up this Sunday on Apple TV. And that's it. Like, that's it. That's it. I think they should be promoting the hell out of Gunnar Henderson. I think they should be promoting the hell out of these young players while also making sure that the Juan Sotos of the world and the Aaron Judges of the world are still out there on the forefront as well. I think this is a great idea to do that. Now, I will say this. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of guys that are kind of tied, so I think you'd have to be kind of selective about some of the spots and some of the folks that you pick. I think you got to be careful about that. And the reason that I say that is here is what the list would look like right now. Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Gunnar Henderson from Baltimore, Jose Ramirez from Cleveland, Anthony Santander from Baltimore, Marcelo Zuna from Atlanta, Bryce Harper from Philly, Josh Naylor from Cleveland, Juan Soto from the Yankees, Kyle Tucker from Houston, and then I've got about a six-way tie for that 12th spot between Pete Alonso, Yordan Alvarez, Rafi Devers, Teoscar Hernandez, and Giancarlo Stanton, and Christian Walker. And I think we could come up with a set of rules, right? Like, if there is a multi-way tie for 12th, nobody who already has their team represented in the All-Star game. So you can't send Teoscar Hernandez because Shohei Ohtani's already there. You can't send Giancarlo Stanton because Aaron Judge is already in. That way you open it up to more players, right? So the first guy that would be able to go from that spot would be Pete Alonso. Okay. I think you could maybe you give a tiebreaker to anyone who has been in or won it before. Pete Alonso knows how to work the home run derby. Send him. Yordan Alvarez from Houston. Another good pick. Tied right there. Big name. So I'm all in for all of that. But I will also tell you, as far as the derby goes, I really do think just go back to the old format. Just go back to the old format. Go back to the format where you get in the first round, you get 10 outs. Top 8 move on. And then in the second round, you get 10 outs. And you start a bracket from that spot. And the guy who hit the most in round 1 becomes the 1 seed. The guy who hit the fewest but moved on becomes the 8th seed. You match them up that way. Start the bracket with 4 guys on each side. Work it down to a showdown. Each team gets 10 outs. And then if you still want to do the gimmicky stuff, you can. Every home run that you hit over, let's say, 10 feet beyond the average home run length for the season, right? Or every home run that is the average home run length of the season. So if we are in a year like we are this year, where I am now thoroughly convinced that MLB nerfed the baseballs during the offseason, the distance in home runs are down. That is why last year you got bonus time if you hit in competition a dinger that went over 450. They dropped it to 425 this year? I think they dropped it down to 425. All right, you dead in the baseballs. Thank you for finally admitting it without admitting it. And I think that's wonderful. But any home run you hit that goes over the average home run distance for the league, let's say it's 425, you get 1 more out. So you could theoretically hit an infinite number of home runs in a round. But if a guy is clobbering the baseball in a way that he is sending multiple jacks out of the building that are clobbering the average distance for the MLB home runs this year, do you know what fans want? We want more of that. I want to see a guy get into a rhythm and start hammering the cover off the baseball and get rewarded for it. We want more of that. So make it the average length. For every one of those that you get an extra out. Like it's not that hard. It's not broken. Don't fix it. Go back to the old philosophy. Then you get stars, you get young guys, you get excitement, you get strategy too, because let's say Aaron Judge goes up there for the Derby. Let's say he participates. And I'll be real with you. I don't think he's going to. Aaron Judge is going to limit the amount of physical exertion he puts his body through as a guy who has been injured like just as much as he hasn't, right? Like you're not going to get a ton out of Aaron Judge outside of regular season baseball. But let's say he's in it. And let's say Aaron Judge goes out there and he's on 6 outs and he just hit home run number 22. And it goes 435. And they go, okay, you got 1 more out. Now you're all the way up to, now you're back down to 5 outs. You get a negative out. You're 5 outs. At some point, if Aaron Judge actually wants to win this thing, the right decision would be what? Concede. I'm done with this round. I've hit 27 home runs. But if he's first, he doesn't know if Pete Alonso is going to go up there and smack 30, right? Strategy. How you play it out. If you're Pete Alonso and you're up there and you're on 9 outs and Aaron Judge set the mark at 24 home runs, you're on 9 outs and you're on 12. But you know you're already in, right? You've already moved on. Do you wear yourself out continuing to slug? Do you wear yourself out continuing to get the lumber around full speed, knowing that you're not in a great spot to catch Aaron Judge, but also you are in a better spot to hit a couple of long ones and get that number back down to 6 outs, 7 outs, and give yourself what's the strategy here? And it is a strategy because, as Lonzo pointed out last year, in the last 2 derbies we've had, a guy who had a remarkable first round got bounced in the third because he was gassed, right? Because he was just out of energy. He was just out of juice. And if he runs out of juice in the first round because he's trying to put on a show and somebody else goes boring early, but they've still got a half a tank in the final round, now all of a sudden there's some drama involved there. Like there's a way to make this dramatic. There's a way to make this fun.
In the end, these guys are competitors, though. If they enter, they want to win.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But again, that doesn't mean there's not a strategy to how you're going to do that, right? Like if I get to 12 and I know I'm locked into the next round, but Judge is at 24, do I try to chase him down or do I just concede my round there and go, I'll just head-to-head him in the next one and not risk swinging 11 more times to wear myself out but only get to 20 and I get no benefit from it? I like that you make it more of a game. You still got to go out there. You still got to knock the cover off the baseball. You still got to send a few dozen fans home with a cool souvenir. But now there's some strategy involved aside from just swing club, hit ball hard, which, don't get me wrong, is awesome. It's awesome. I just feel like we're trying to fix something that frankly was never broken in the first place. And that is a historic problem for Major League Baseball. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You're live.
All right, guys, another live and we're back. Stay right there, please, and thank you. 617-829-1307. I would like to very quickly read you the start to an editorial posted on the USC fan site, Southern Cal, Trojans Wire, by a author named Matt Zemek, Z-E-M-E-K, if you want to go look it up. The headline of this article is, if you want to win but don't like where college football is going, you have to choose. That's the title of the editorial he's posted. He opens it as such. The new world of NIL, the transfer portal, and the college football playoff is turning college football into a business which looks increasingly more like the NFL. It's more corporate, more cutthroat, with more dollars and more postseason berths on the line. The transfer portal is college sports' answer to free agency in the pros. Player acquisition is now a year-round pursuit in college football, and the programs which don't go into the portal, see Dabo Swinney at Clemson, are losing ground, end quote. He goes on to say, it's more than understandable that fans hate what college football is becoming. Recruiting isn't as fun as it used to be. The transfer portal, while very important in the larger scheme of college football's landscape, is annoying because one program can come in with a hefty NIL offer and snatch away a prospect who seemed intent on playing at another school. USC fans have felt this particular frustration quite a bit. If they hate what college football has become, no one can blame them for feeling that way. The discussion gets more complicated, however, when fans lament the direction of college football and how the sport no longer has the innocence or charm it used to have, but still want their school to be competitive in the NIL, the portal, and recruiting. We all don't like the crass commercialization of college football and the distorting effects of conference realignment, such as the ridiculous travel demands being placed on 19 and 20-year-old athletes. Yet, if we still care about our schools, such as USC, we realize this is the brave new world we're a part of. We either play the game or we might as well go home and pursue other passions. If we want USC to be competitive, we have to be willing to allow USC to pursue every reasonable and ethical avenue to achieve elite football performance. If we claim to want the best for USC football, but then don't want the school to be hyper aggressive in the pursuit of quality, we're sending a missed message. We can privately hate where college football is going, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't want USC football to do whatever it takes, honorably, of course, to reach its goals. End quote. That's the whole thing. I was going to read you a part of it, but got into it. And I'm like, this is short enough. I'll give it to you. Here's the fun thing. Yeah. What are we talking about here? Like I've told you guys before, one of my hobbies is that when I get into the bro cave at night, and I'm getting set up to show prep for the next day, I've got my routine, right? Like I finish the show here. So when I go to the Fortress of Nerditude, we knock out our post-show work, our post-show production, whatever. I leave here, I go home, I sit out in the backyard with the dog. I come back in, I get a sandwich, I have lunch, whatever it's going to be. I take myself a little mid-afternoon siesta because I'm an adult with no kids. I do what I want, leave me alone. And then somewhere around 6 o'clock, I either sit on the couch with the fiance or I go back in the bro cave. I lean back in the gamer chair. I fire up the laptop and the tablet of truth. I put a sports on the TV and I start show prepping. And while I'm doing that, I will open up the Odyssey app. AUDACY, by the way. Get it. Heart, favorite, like, whatever you want to call it. The Fan Upstate. You can listen to, as many people do, the show, the station, anytime you want. But I clip around to sports talk channels in other markets. I listen to markets across the Southeast. I listen to markets along the Atlantic Seaboard. I listen to shows from out in California. I like to know what are the driving topics of discussion in other markets. And that doesn't always mean that those topics are going to work in our market, but there are some that do. And it seems like whenever I clip into stations that are primarily in college football towns, right? Fayetteville, Arkansas, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Eugene, Oregon, whatever the case might be. Whenever I clip into towns that are primarily college football towns, there's still a lot of, I don't like what college football has become. I don't like that it's lost its innocence. I'm getting real tired of that phrase, to keep it a buck for you. College football's never been innocent. It's just that most of what has happened out of your eyesight. That's all. The $500 handshakes have always happened.
You say never. Maybe when it first started. I mean, very first year.
Sure, if you'd like to go back to the 1810s, I'm sure it was just pure as the driven snow in 1814.
I don't think it's that old, but still.
You get the point. The point is, when it first started, they were wearing sweaters and no helmets to play the game. Like, maybe it was innocent at that point in time, but also they were wearing sweaters and no helmets. We didn't really have the game figured out yet.
So you've never played backyard football before?
No, I definitely did.
Okay.
I was also dumb.
All right.
I wouldn't do it today. I guess I just ain't got that dog in me no more.
If I was physically capable, even at my age, I definitely would. There's just something about it. It's just so much fun.
And I'll get out there and roll some flag football with the best of them.
Well, no, I miss hitting people. I really do.
I got a list. I got a list. You can go hit if you want.
Not that kind of hit. I'm talking about.
Some of them are here. Make it easy. You don't even have to play the away team. You can play the home team.
I can be the office linebacker. I might need some help getting up after the first hit, but
So whenever I clip into these college town sports stations, I am still hearing I hate what college football has become conversation. And it kind of feels to me like, at this point, despite the fact that I'm doing a segment on it, it kind of feels to me like a waste of breath at this point. Guys, it's never going back, right? It's never going back. What are you talking about? I will say, if nothing else, I think I appreciated this article from this cat, because you know what, Lonzo, if I asked you to summarize this editorial that I just read, penned by Matt Zemek, if I asked you to Chat GPT summarize this thing for me, how would you summarize this article?
I can't. I can't do that.
Okay, I can. The summary is, shut up and stop about it, because you have two options: embrace it and be good, or reject it and be bad, and that's it.
Yeah, but it's a waste of breath. That's why I can't do it, because the people who are still clinging and still looking behind and not ahead are going to remain doing that, because unfortunately that's a lot of their show prep. You take that away, then they're going to have to embrace the new way and actually start talking about what's going on now. I get it. It's, there's regret, there's glory about the past, but it ain't coming back. I mean,
I'm sure there is some element of it, of every generation believes that the era they grew up in is the greatest era, right?
See,
every generation believes that.
I'm not that guy.
You aren't that guy.
Yeah.
But by and large,
because I would like to believe the next generation will be better, and hope that they will. They may not be, but I want them to be better than what we were.
As is the case, most of the time, great one, you're the outlier, which is great, which is wonderful. I think most of us who work in this industry are outliers. That's why we're in it. It's an industry full of outliers. But you're the outlier.
It's also an industry full of liars. But
that is also true.
Yeah. Not in this room, though.
Outliers and regular liars.
Yeah.
I think that, by and large, most every generation believes their generation was the best generation, and the next generation sucks, and the last generation was selfish. It's just how it works at large. So I do think there is just some level of, it ain't the way that it used to be for me, and therefore it's bad.
Now you got Micah Mechanic stuck in my head.
Enjoy that.
The living years.
Enjoy that.
Every generation blames the one before. Anyway.
They do. I think that's absolutely correct. And I think there's a lot of that because it's not
Mike
so
and
much,
Mechanics people, you weren't ready for that.
I wasn't ready for a Mike and the Mechanics reference. Every generation hates the next generation because they change the things you love. When you do a thing for a very long time, you become convinced that that's the best way to do the thing. And when somebody comes along and changes the thing, even if they change the thing for the better, it's not how you like it, therefore it's bad.
All right, when it comes down to it, I don't know that it's better. I don't know that it's worse. It's just different.
Oh, no,
And,
I'm not
yeah.
saying that college football is or isn't better today than it was 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years ago. What I'm saying is it is different. The next generation changed it. And we as pattern-seeking creatures, pattern-seeking great apes, we, by and large as a whole, don't like change. Because change means your pattern disappears. And your pattern disappearing means that you have to learn and adapt and change with those things. And I do think there is some element of folks just wanting to hang on. And I suspect that in 10, 15 years, whatever happens between here and there, we'll probably look back and go, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. It really wasn't. Like, we made it a big deal, but it really wasn't all that big of a deal. But I guess what I'm saying here is, I appreciate this effort of an editorial from Matt Zemek because I do think it brings down the biggest issue that you can listen to debated in the circle specifically of Clemson fans right now. Because the feeling I'm getting behind this microphone and interacting with Clemson fans online, in the public, on the air, is that there is a large group of Clemson fans that are ready to embrace the future and get on board with portal and NIL and all of that. And there's a smaller, but I would probably argue equally as powerful group of Clemson fans who look at this and go, no, this isn't the way it's done. It's not the way it has been done in the past. It's not the way it should be done now. And we don't want to change anything. In fact, we are willing to hold on to the old ways, despite the fact that the new generation is telling us this is how you embrace mediocrity. This is how you make sure nothing changes. We don't care because that's the best way, because it's our way. And it's led to this spot where I feel like you have a very divided fan base around the football program going into what may be, and I mean this, the most pivotal year of Dabo Swinney's time at Clemson. It may be the most important year. This is an assessment year. This is why I've said, Clemson fans, define success, because I think this is an assessment year for you.
So this is, at the end of this year, he'll get his employee evaluation, something that a lot of us have to do every single year.
Yeah, 100%. I think Clemson, I'm not saying it will, I'm saying you should. I think at the end of this year, multiple years deep into NIL, multiple years deep into the portal, multiple years to figure this whole thing out and learn how your school is going to operate within that world, multiple years into this new age of college football, Dabo and some of the old school folks at Clemson have effectively said, we're not doing it that way, or at least not the way that a lot of fans want us to do. We'll dabble, but we're not Dabo will dabble, but we're not going any deeper than that. And especially with the fact that there are no portal players incoming, I think at the end of this year, it has to be evaluated. Did it work or did it not? And if it did work, great. Keep doing it. But if it doesn't work, then I think you'll have to start to acknowledge the old way, which is the Dabo way, or the Dabo way, which is the old way, doesn't work. And then it's time for a conversation. And I think that my guy Matt in this editorial basically said, look, you have two options here. You embrace new school college football and you give yourself a chance to succeed, or you reject new school college football and you ensure that you will fail. But hey, at least you failed your way. At least you failed your way. At least you lost your way. And I do think it's an interesting conversation as we approach the 2024 season. I also think something else is going to be interesting. All these words that Lonzo's going to say now.
Yes, as a wordsmith, that's what I do. 16 former men's college basketball players, including Mario Chalmers, Sharon Collins, Jason Terry, and Ryan Boatwright, have sued the NCAA and member conferences for what they allege are unauthorized use of their name, image, and likeness in March Madness. Highlights: the lawsuit accuses the NCAA, Big East, Pac-12, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, and ACC of violating the federal Sherman Antitrust Act through unreasonable restraint, trade, and refusal to deal. While we wait to see which MLB sluggers will compete in this year's Home Run Derby, we now know that Shohei Ohtani won't be one of them. The Japanese superstar, who has the second most home runs in the league, cites pitching rehab during the break as his reason for missing the contest. Make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Dees will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a whole lot of fun. It's all Wire to Wire.
Dun, 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 la, la, dun, la, la, la.
Enjoy the sounds of summer from Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. Enjoy the taste of summer too, with amazing hand-tossed pies, cool, crisp salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Mellow Mushroom, 1 Augusta Street in Greenville's West End. This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-973-7809 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call this for your free QuickBook today. 800-973-7809. That's 800-973-7809. What do you have to lose? Call 800-973-7809. Again, 800-973-7809. The official sports voice of the Upstate Fan.
New Life, first break.
New Life first break. Got it.
Thank you for acknowledging in monotone.
Yeah. That's all I got for you today.
You're improving. Was just testing. Yesterday was a no-go period.
Yeah.
You attempted it today. Hopefully I didn't injure anything. So by Friday, you might be back and ready to go.
By real Friday. We got fake Friday today. We got real Friday. Pretty excited about that.
You going to see fireworks?
No, I'm not, and I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. We will be at home now through probably, well, at the earliest, probably next Friday. Actually, I had another story I was going to tell you, but I'll bring this one up. We being the fiance and I, the lady and I, are fostering a dog for the next week and a half or so. There's a black lab, like 6 months old, that somebody had a litter of puppies and basically just dumped this dog somewhere. And they were a little short at the shelter. And I am a gigantic pushover for dogs. So we're fostering a dog, except for them. We're like, oh crap, Thursday's fireworks day. And this dog is skittish of everyone and everything because she's been mistreated since she's been born. So I'll be probably celebrating the 4th, laying on the floor, watching like Revolutionary War documentaries with a volume on mute with a puppy that is going to be, scared-less.
Yeah, freaking out for sure.
By the fireworks.
Didn't even think about it, but the new cat is scared of rain.
Oh,
fireworks it's gonna be rough for her.
And out where you live, I'm sure the game fireworks or gunshots is routine.
Yes, they are. They are. And they start early and don't seem to end for days.
Can I give you I've experienced the duality of man yesterday. This kind of plays into that a little bit.
Whoa.
I experienced the duality of Rob yesterday. I got 2 things for you. So we are fostering this dog for a couple of weeks while they find a permanent home for this dog, which is great. Like I'm happy to help. And if by helping I get to hang out with another dog, I'm all in. Okay. So decided yesterday that because we're getting the pupper after work today. All right.
Rob the dog bro.
Big dog guy. Big dog bro over here. So decided yesterday, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go. I'm still got to work the show on BetQL tonight from 3 to 7. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up to the grocery store and I'm just going to get us a week's worth of groceries. I'm just going to stock the house today.
Wait, do you not normally do that?
No, we don't. And we don't because she and I both have, let's say, self-control issues.
Okay.
And we can't bring snacks in the house. We will crush them. Okay.
Well, but you can have meals that you need to prepare, like ingredients for meals.
No, because I am the dude that at like 9:30, I'll be like, I want a snack and I will make a meal.
Wow.
And it's real bad. It's real bad. I know that.
That goes against snack. Snack is something you could just grab. It's not something that.
No, the problem is going for a snack turns into eating too much. So I decided, let me go up to the grocery store. Let me stock up the house. Let me get a week's worth of groceries because we really can't leave for the next week and a half or so. Let me go get the groceries. So I go up to the grocery store. Well, because of my, I got the nice radio in the car that I can hook my phone up to and play Spotify, whatever. I am currently in the midst of listening to a lecture from a historian from the University of South Carolina about the Southern campaign of the British during the Revolutionary War. All right, I'm not going to go into it. It's incredible. It's amazing. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to it. Basically, all these different battlefields that I've visited over the years, he connects them all, how they all, each led to each. So I'm in the car and I'm listening to it, and I get to the store right as he is getting to the lead up in the back country to the Battle of Kings Mountain, which is where I went last year for the first time. And I'm really engaged with this. And so I did something great one that I've never done before, and I said that I never would. I reached down and I put in earbuds, right? Now, I'm not anti-earbuds. As Zoe will tell you, in the Fortress of Nerditude, if I'm editing audio, he's editing audio, and that's like I got to really be dialed in. I'll throw in earpods that are Bluetooth to my computer. If I go to the gym, I'll pop in the earpods, have them hooked to the phone, whatever. But if I'm like out in public, if I go to a grocery store, if I'm, going to the mall, whatever, if I'm going to somewhere that people are interacting, I usually don't put them in because I'd like to be cognizant of what's going on around me. All I need to do is walk up into the middle of an armed robbery one day because I'm elbow deep in Civil War history. And I walk between, a dude with a gun and a cash register. And B, because, this is going to sound egomaniacal, but like every now and then when I go out, somebody recognizes me and they want to say hi. And what I don't want is to get on Twitter one day and see, I just saw Rob Brown in public. I said hi and he just ignored me. What a jerk. Because I didn't hear him with the earpods in.
Welcome to my world. That's every day for me.
Yeah, but you do it on purpose.
No, I'm talking about you not acknowledging me.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief.
The other thing is, where's your one, man? I want to see it.
You're not getting it.
Okay. And the other thing is, as far as I definitely acknowledge anyone who recognizes me. Okay.
So do I.
It's just not, there's just not a long conversation afterwards.
So do I.
But
I have said on the air many, many times, if you guys ever see me in public, please come say hi. You will not offend me. You will not interrupt me. Like if I'm making out with my woman, don't do it at that exact moment, but like give me a minute.
Just stand there and stare and smile.
Yeah.
Maybe critique.
My favorite one ever
critique method. Yeah, you could have went. Yeah. Just I don't know.
My favorite one ever was we had a conversation probably a couple of years ago now. We had a conversation about the proper way to flip the bird, right? Thumb out, thumb in, sideways, upside down, left, right, like the proper etiquette to flip the bird, depending on the situation you're in. Went one time to a winery with the mom and the fiance. When the mom came up to visit, went to a winery, and halfway through the winery, I look over at a table, like 3 tables over, and this man and lady in their, I don't know, probably mid-40s, look over, and both of them at the same time, both of them raised the double bird at me and my family. And I'm like, the hell is this? And so I'm like, well, I got to go say something. So I walk over and I'm like, as I'm walking to the table, they go, this is the way you do it, Rob Brown. And I was like, oh, I get it now. Favorite interaction in my life. You ever see me? Come say hi. Okay. But I put these earbuds in and I walked in, and as I'm shopping and I'm listening to this lecture that I'm super into and I'm learning stuff and I'm just enjoying it, I realized, oh God, like I'm a millennial, man. Like I'm doing the thing that I always said it bothers me when the Utes do. I'm ignoring everyone and everything in the world around me to keep my earbuds in. I've always been against this. And now I'm like, I may never not have them out again. I may never not have earbuds in from this point for the rest of my life. I may never do it. It was amazing.
I'm sure no one noticed that you did that.
I wouldn't know.
Did you just suddenly stop
Somebody could have
and
said,
just apologize to someone who walked by? I am sorry. I have my earbuds in. I'm sorry. While you just startled some lady who's trying to buy bread.
I think the more important thing, number one, is I have complained for years that I think there is a growing lack of societal awareness amongst people, right? Like people care less and less. And I do think a lot of this, honestly, I blame a lot of it on COVID, because we all went, 6 months without interacting with the public all that much. And I think there is a distinct lack of social awareness that is growing nationwide, where people can. This is why I get mad at people who park in 2 car spaces. I went to the grocery store yesterday. There was a Kia Sorento that was parked not in 2 spaces, Lonzo, in 4 in the front of the parking lot.
Wow,
I'm
how do you even
out.
do that? That's. I didn't think they were long enough to do 4.
So like,
so it's like very narrow spaces or something.
No, like here's your, your parking spaces, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, okay.
They were parked like that.
All right, I get it.
Okay?
So instead of going gangsta, they were gangsta boss.
Oh, dude, the 4 spots in the front of the. You do that in the back, whatever. Front of the front of the parking lot. I was about ready to. I almost fell out. Almost had an aneurysm. All right, I could feel the pressure building in my head.
Were you tempted to stand there and wait till they came out so you could give them what for?
I wish.
That's so you went from being millennial to the opposite of that.
Yeah, I was both at the same time. But then I get to the house last night. I'm doing the show. Show's over. Lady friend and I are like, all right, let's watch some TV, right? I'm prepping on the phone, whatever. And what do I start to hear? Pop, 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 pop. 8:45 at night. Pop, 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 pop. Now, in fairness, up until I moved back into this spot, 8:45 at night was not late at all. All right, 8:45. I'm usually in the old time slide. 8:45 is about the time I start prepping the show for the next day. In the new time slide,
8:45 is like 10:45 for us.
Yes, it is. It's not like go to bed early, but it's definitely wind down early, right? Like it's definitely I've eaten, I've showered, I've put on the PJs. Lady friend and I have spent our time together. Like I'm putting on the like a West Coast baseball game or whatever. Pop, 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 pop. Somebody down at the end of the road popping off the fireworks. And it was the first time I think in my life that I legit was like, what is wrong with you? Who raised you? How did you turn? Did someone hurt you? How did you turn out this way? And I can't explain this weird feeling that I had that on one hand, I'm like, oh no, I'm turning into my father. And on the other hand, I was like, I'd probably go do it too. It seems like it'd be fun. Fireworks are great.
See, I have a different feeling because I'm always worried the woods are going to catch on fire. But I mean, not by me doing it, but by other people doing it. And that my escape route is narrow. That's because of where we live. And
you live on a compound.
Yeah, well, there's that. And I always have to decide, do I want to go to, and I mention this every year because it happens every year, do I want to go to the Gray Court fireworks, which always ends with a grass fire? Always. You know it's finale time when the fire trucks have to move up because you see it. The first time it happens, like, man, that's awful bright. Is that supposed to happen? Then suddenly just all the stuff went off, but it wasn't in the air. And they don't get better. So if I don't go, I know when it's over by listening for fire trucks. When I hear the fire trucks, I know it's done.
Small town America, baby.
And by the way, I'm not coloring it. I'm not exaggerating. It happens every year.
Oh, I believe it. I don't know. Like, I feel like yesterday demonstrated to me that I am on the precipice of becoming an old man.
See,
right?
I'm also a fireworks snob. It's hard for me to go see fireworks around here because of how big Red, White, and Boom is in Columbus. Downtown, like 1 million people all gathered really close, which was very unnerving for me. Watching fireworks and then watching here, it's okay, but it's not that, you know?
See, listen,
and you've probably seen them over the water. Which has to be really cool in Florida.
It absolutely is. I still like a fireworks show. All the little towns around Okaloosa County where I grew up, they all compete with their fireworks shows. So like they all one up each other, and it leads to some great spectacles. I love fireworks on the 4th of July. I'm a big fan. I love a fireworks show. But it was just this weird emotion yesterday, recognizing that I am on the precipice of becoming an old man, and it is like nay unavoidable as I stare down the barrel of 40, because on one hand, it drives me bananas Like all my little cousins will show up to family events and they all got their stupid earbuds in. And I'm like, take them out and talk to people. Take them out and interact with the world around you. Like be more societally aware of what is happening around you. And then yesterday I did it and walked into the store and I'm like, why have I not been doing this all the time? You mean I can continue to listen to stuff and do stuff at the same time? This is great. And then I went home and I had the exact opposite. And that one I felt like maybe I do still got some youth in me. Maybe I do still got some young in me. But then last night, it is 8:45. You know, it's one thing if this happens at like 1 a.m. Then I think like anybody's like, okay, dudes, enough. But at 8:45, it ain't that late. And I'm sitting here listening to the pop, 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 pop down the road. Clearly fireworks.
Just wait till tonight. And you'll have 2 dogs, right? And a cat together. Yeah. They're not going to be having a happy night.
Our dog does not care. She's not afraid of them. She doesn't care. All right. She doesn't care. New dog, no idea if she will be or not. Probably. Right. But again, tonight, whatever, it's going to be less terrible because I don't have to wake up at 4:45 in the morning or 3:45 in the morning tomorrow. So I'm not super worried about it. It really only matters when it impacts me. Right. But is that not the oldest man take? Nothing matters until it impacts me. And now that it's impacting me directly, I feel like I got to walk down the road and go full Karen on him.
I think that's just normal conceit. I don't know if that has anything to do with age. Maybe it amplifies because you become a little more annoyed about everything. I've been seriously considering doing this. If you're looking on social media, you can see what I'm doing this and walking through the grocery store, holding my phone up to my mouth while it's on speakerphone and just having really loud conversations, but not actually talking to anybody, just pretend to talk to people just so I can walk around the store and annoy people. Is that wrong? Is that being an old person?
No, and again, I think a lot of times it has to do with context. Like I have escaped conversations before by faking phone calls. Like, oh man, I got to take this. Sorry, give me just a minute. And then you got to be real careful that when you pick up your phone, you make sure you pick it up with the screen facing away from them. You know, like I've pulled that maneuver before for sure.
So if I'm going, listen, I know we have 50 cats. Okay, I put all that in one cart. You trying to tell me I need to put 50 things of cat litter? I'm going to need help for that.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
That's your go-to line to get out of a conversation?
No. I just want to walk around and just have people look at me. Just for no reason.
So you're seeking attention.
No, I just want to point out how annoying that is when other people do it.
I will say this. There is one old man. I don't even think this is
which more women do it than guys. I don't know why.
I think this is a perfectly valid take for everyone. If you speak on your speakerphone in a public setting, you are with a capital whatever letter you think that word starts with.
Thought that when you were younger?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
If you are on your speakerphone in public, and I will tell you what I have done. You know me, not a confrontational guy. The Kia Sorrento parked across 4 spots, I'm going to talk a big game and I'm going to do absolutely nothing about it. There is one thing that I have found that I am more than willing to do. If you have your phone on speakerphone and you are having a conversation, I am now a part of that conversation.
Ooh, I just thought about something. Maybe I should go to the mall and do that, except have Odie do a Paul McCartney impersonation and have it on speakerphone and pretend like you're talking to someone famous.
I think more people are going to leave you alone than you think. I do. I'm not one of them. You're on a speakerphone around me. I'm part of your conversation now. One of my favorite ones to do is if it's like a dude talking to a girl on a speakerphone. I don't know if they're related or not. I will immediately, from like a few feet away, go, come back to bed in the girliest voice I can muster. I would just say, come back to bed as girly as I can.
I just want to say, having seen you in public, whether they're on speakerphone or not, you're still part of their conversation because you're coming through their.
I'll tell you, take it off speakerphone. Be an adult.
Because you're really.
I also found out that the earbuds I put in yesterday have microphones on them, so I don't even have to like get my phone. It'll be like, Courtney is calling, and I can just touch the earbud and take the call. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm never taking them out again.
You've never done that?
No.
Okay.
I've never worn earbuds outside of a radio station.
Even the Odyssey ones that we got which are the ones I
never
use.
Put them in.
Yeah, I use those.
Never put them in.
I got the sporty ones because, I mean, as you can tell,
was always
active. I am
always against them because I'm like, just pay attention to the world around you. Deal with it later. And now I'm like, y'all, if you want to get my attention in public now, you're going to have to run up and touch me.
Do not run up and touch him.
Because
if he's wearing the earbuds, you'll scare him half to death.
Reach out and touch me. Text said, my neighbors compete with their fireworks, always try to one-up each other. One guy ran out of fireworks early. His solution, fire his handgun in the air. All right.
Welcome
he
to
lives out there by
Pickens.
Lonzo.
Yeah, probably.
Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with actual sports on the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, one more reading. We're back. Stay right there for me. Does being closer to the 4th give you a little more patience with people firing off fireworks, right? Like if it was March 11th, would you feel different about it?
I know how
I feel like I would.
I know how this is going to sound, but it's not an empty lot. It's a big time wooded lot behind us. And whoever owns it, they come out there and shoot guns. Sometimes it sounds like they shoot a cannon. And I mean, automatic weapons are illegal from my understanding. My dude's got fast trigger fingers. That's all I got to say. There are some times where I'm thinking, how much money are you spending testing you got to test your guns. I get that. But when they're out there for an hour, it's like, I'm too busy going, man, all that money.
He might make his own
just
ammo.
spend all the, really?
Yeah. You can do that.
There's definitely different size guns. I can't see through the woods, but you can hear by, the sound that the gun makes when it goes off. That's a different size. And I really do believe they might be shooting off a cannon. I mean, it's possible. It is Lawrence County.
College football, the video game. What are we supposed to call it? EA Sports College Football? Did we just say college? I can't just say college football because it's like, all right, are we talking college football or the video game? EA Sports College Football 25. Name? Yeah, College Football 25.
Okay.
But do we just call it that? Just College Football 25? Anyway.
You got to point out the video game. The video game College Football 25. Because if you say College Football 25, people.
Yeah, but I do not want to say the video game every time I talk about it.
Why not?
I'm just going to, all right, we're just going to call it College Football 25. That's just what it's going to be on this show.
So some people will get confused and think that you're already talking about next year's college football.
I can't help them. All right. This is the biggest things. This is the biggest thing that happened in video games today.
So you don't want to do this just because I suggested it?
No, I don't want to do it because I'm not saying the video game College Football 25 every time.
No, it's the video game.
I'm not saying that.
Okay. All right.
It's just College Football 25.
The video game's totally different thing.
They have put out their ranking of the top 25 teams, how they have statistically ranked them in said College Football 25, the video game.
Yeah, okay.
They have a bunch of teams ranked 87. Now, these aren't 87th overall. This is their skill number. If you're a video game dork, this is your stat level.
So not 99, 87.
Correct. 87. They have every team at 87. Iowa, Oklahoma State, Arizona, Kansas, NC State, Virginia Tech, USC, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, and Colorado, all ranked as an 87. What is the Colorado love? I still don't get it. Colorado is...
Why is there Colorado hate? Why?
It's not hate, but are we pretending that Colorado's in the ballpark with Oklahoma right now? Bro, they won, 3 games last year? They're not. Why are we pretending this?
They looked really good the first couple games, though.
They did.
It's a video game. It's all about show, isn't it? You really want accuracy.
Yes.
You want complete accuracy.
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Yes, I do.
Wow.
I am supposed to be able to transport
myself. If you want
myself.
complete accuracy, then you shouldn't be able to put yourself into the video game and win league MVP.
That's different.
Okay. If you say so.
How is Colorado? I will also say this. They base their rankings, they theoretically base their rankings based on looking around, taking into consideration projections and stats and numbers and analytics from a bunch of different sources. And what this is telling me is that after extensive, I hope, and exhaustive research, I hope, that EA Sports believes, that college football brains everywhere believe, that Colorado is going to be a top 25 team. Why? What are we doing? Anyway, just above them at 88.
Should I clip that so we can revisit it later?
Yes,
on?
Feel free.
Okay.
Feel free. Above them at an 88 overall ranking, they have Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Miami, Florida State, Penn State, Utah, and that's it. That's your 88 teams. I thought there was one more. I read it wrong. They have 3 teams. Okay. I'm here for it.
According to Adrian Wojnarowski.
DeMar DeRozan is signing with the Lakers.
Free agent LeBron James has agreed to a 2-year, $104 million maximum deal to return to the Los Angeles Lakers. Deal includes player option and no trade clause.
Yeah, of course it does.
All right, you can get back to college basketball, the football game again. My bad.
Breaking news brought to you by BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, beat the books. Get the BetQL app today. Make sure you got it on your phone or wherever. And, of course, don't forget to listen to Bet for the Cycle every single Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL network, hosted by former Major League Baseball player Cody Decker and yours truly, Rob Brown. We spent a lot of time. Deck's a Lakers fan, and he is big mad about this program right now. Big mad. He said, look,
Is he mad enough to not watch it again?
No, not a chance. He's still a fan.
All right.
He said, look, man, LeBron James is running this team. I said, yeah, is this surprising to you? He's been running the team since he showed up in 2020. Like the last 3 head coaches you've had have all been because LeBron got tired of the last guy and wanted the new guy. The new guy you got right now is because he's Bronze Boy. Your most recent draft pick is because he's literally Bronze Boy.
By the way, that's not unusual for a star of that caliber on any team to dictate some of what happens.
Not unusual, but the level to which LeBron has it is unprecedented, in my opinion.
Because
unprecedented.
Who's on his level?
Nobody.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You're not wrong. At a 90 overall, they have LSU, Notre Dame, and Clemson.
By the way, Ray says Colorado has a player on the cover.
They do. They do. Mr. Hunter, who is going to be one of the best football players in college football this year. And who's to say that if he didn't go down after being smoked in that, Colorado State game last year, who's to say if he doesn't go down last year, Colorado's not better? But here's the thing.
Because he was a big part of their offense.
He was a big point of their team. He was a 3-way player, offense, defense, special teams. Like he is that good. And who's to say that if he doesn't go down last year, Colorado is in a 6 or 7 win team?
So maybe the rating is based off of him being healthy.
Maybe so. Maybe so. It's still not that good of a team. And I have said and continue to say, and I'll have you know, I'm taking full advantage of this in the betting market because the fiance, by the way, she went to a casino on her bachelorette party, and now she's all about getting up to Cherokee. She said, if you will take me up to Cherokee for a weekend, you can spend the whole day in the sports book. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to put all of my college football futures down in one day.
I still kind of want to go because I've never been to a casino. I know it's not like Vegas, but it's probably the closest to Vegas I'll ever get.
I don't know. Maybe talk the Boston to send us out to Vegas.
Yeah, but I'd have to fly, and I'm not doing that.
You're lost, pal. You're lost. I'm going to see Phantom of the Opera at the Venetian. Change your life. Change your life.
Yeah, it will change my life because I'll die on the plane.
Travis Hunter will be a beast, and that Deion Sanders black, white, gold cleat-based uniform is awesome, and I will pay top dollar for it. Listen, Colorado looks good. Colorado sounds good. I've been #influenced. I own 2 pairs of the Deons now.
All right. So you're playing the video game, and you go, okay, I don't care who I'm playing with today. Let's go through all those uniforms. Look sweet. Let me play with this team.
What do you want? I love a good uni.
Okay, what I'm saying is, I don't have a problem with the rating. That's all I'm saying.
I don't get it. And I'm going to go on and say again, one of the futures I'm betting is Colorado under win total.
This is not accurate. There's no way Colorado could be at 87.
See, that's fine if I was going off on one of your dork-ass games, all right? If I was going off on one of your goofy little anime games, that'd be fine.
Name me an anime game that I play.
I don't play any of them, so I don't know.
You know what? I don't really play anime games either, although the new Dragon Ball Z game looks pretty cool. But I don't play anime games.
Goku here, level 775, not 615.
The majority of the games that I play, he's played.
It's not the point. Shut up.
Hypocrite.
Not the point. Shut up. Point here is, I don't understand the love for a coach who ain't proved a damn thing. I don't understand the love for a team that ain't proved a damn thing. They proved they look good. They proved they can get celebrities to come out. They proved they got a hype machine that might be the best hype machine in college football, period, end of discussion right now. But they ain't proved nothing, and we're all still losing our minds over the Buffs. Why? I don't get it. I don't give it. Clemson also ranked as a 90 this year, along with Notre Dame and LSU.
Wait. I don't get it. Why they rank so high?
Honestly, I don't either.
Why? What have they done in the last couple of years to deserve a high ranking like
What's
that?
the matter to you, Lonzo? It's just a video game.
Yeah, I was going with you.
Why do you care,
I'm along for your ride.
I honestly do not know why Clemson. I mean, I do. They are going to be listed as one of the best defenses in the game. In fact, I actually have where to go. I actually have the defensive ratings.
Wow, an opportunity for me to make fun of Clemson, and you're wondering why.
They have Clemson ranked a 90 defensive overall, tied for third best defense in the country. As an offense, they have Clemson ranked 10th as an 87. South Carolina nowhere on the board. Shocking, I know. Back after this, because Alonzo is hustling me, and we got to stay true to reality on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Also, my chance to cut you off when you're talking about Clemson. Of course, I'm going to do that.
There it is.
Hey, do we have a guest today?
Sure. Well, if he shows up.
Well, you haven't mentioned it, so that was more of a reminder than anything.
Mario not only did not show up for anything last weekend, despite being 30 minutes from me, but did not respond to text or anything the whole weekend. So we're going to have words.
Maybe he didn't have service.
No, he did.
How do you know?
Because I know exactly where he was.
Well, that doesn't mean maybe he was in a shielded building. Wow. Been gone home for the holiday.
I just got a targeted ad for Medieval Times. And now I really want to go to Medieval Times.
Myrtle Beach, dude. It's a good show.
I like Medieval Times.
So do I. Not doing it this time we go to the beach, though, because it's expensive. I mean, the food is good every time. The entertainment's good every time. Smell not as bad as people sometimes think, even if you are down closer to where the horses are. It's well vented. The air conditioning always has I wonder if the one in California is that much better than the one. I mean, they're owned by the same people. I don't know if they do it exactly the same way. Pirate Show is pretty good too.
No, Keegan. Auburn is not anywhere to be found on the top 25, according to the video game college football 25.
All right, I'm enjoying how you're saying it, but you need to do it with a little less anger. Tip of the day, never have a Roman candle fight. Don't do that.
Oh, way too late for that. I think tip of the day is don't lose a Roman candle fight.
Who wins one? The guy who doesn't get hit?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The problem is everybody focuses on.
She does, Mac. You're absolutely right.
The defense. I mean, on the offense. You got to focus on the defense. If you just stay shifty, nobody can hit you.
And since she can do no wrong, that's why that show's so
Dolly
good.
Parton should be president. Can we all collectively agree that we just all write in Dolly Parton for president?
She might be too old.
No, I'm not even touching that. I'm not even touching that. Conference free previews being put up on sites around the country right now. ESPN has put up their Atlantic Coast Conference preview for the 2024 season.
You ignore my new music.
It's like EDM meets hip hop, I guess. I actually do dig it. I really do.
I just want people who are listening to the show on their radio in their car to suddenly go, "Oh!"
I actually do. It's kind of groovy, to be honest. Also, I can tell I'm getting closer to 40 because, like, I say things like groovy.
Yeah, I'm a lot older than that, and I don't think I ever used groovy, except for like quoting Evil Dead.
Here's what ESPN put in their ACC conference preview for 2024. Obviously, we will get a lot more of these as we get closer to the beginning of the season. And 2 weeks from now, once we go through ACC Media Days up in Charlotte, North Carolina. They said, quote, "Everything about the ACC feels weird right now." That's my favorite opening to a preview ever. From big football programs plotting to leave to teams from Texas and California joining to the simple existence of a conference with 17 teams and games like Stanford at Syracuse, Boston College at SMU, and Cal at Wake Forest. The variation in schedule strengths. Georgia Tech ranks 15th in projected SP+. 5 other teams rank in the top 40, and 4 others rank outside the top 70. Makes this only loosely feel like a conference. But when the games actually start, we'll have a potentially stellar race on our hands all the same. Florida State and Clemson, the standout escape plotters and winners of 12 of the past 13 ACC championships, start out in the front of the race, but 5 teams are projected between 19th and 32nd in SP+ and loom not far behind. They go on to effectively ask the question, is there anyone in this conference that can make a run at Clemson or make a run at FSU? The ESPN projections have Florida State winning the conference this year, Clemson checking in second, Miami checking in third when it is all said and done. But here is the interesting thing. They have an average win total for Florida State of 9.3, an average win total for Clemson of 9.1, an average win total for SMU of 9.1, and an average win total of Miami, at 8.8.
Why are you talking about SMU for? I thought you were talking about the ACC.
I am. So SMU, who is definitely a member of the ACC now officially. Here's the
so Clemson could finish like 4th behind SMU.
Clemson is not finishing behind SMU.
Well, according to projections, SMU is going to win 9 games, and so is Clemson. So, I mean,
that is the average per simulation, which means that on average, Clemson is winning 10 more than SMU wins 10. No. Respect to the ponies, horses, Mustangs, Broncos.
That's a really
Colts.
long name. That's a lot of mascots for one team.
Which one is SMU? SMU is one of them.
It's Horsies, I believe.
Okay. Much love to the SMU Horsies. Welcome to the conference, Horsies. They ran their numbers, did ESPN. Bill Connolly, I think, did these. Said that Florida State has a 27.5% chance of winning the conference with an 17.1% chance of getting 11 or more wins.
SMU are the Mustangs, by the way.
Horsies. Clemson has a 23.8% chance of winning the conference, about 4.5 points shy of Florida State.
Wait. Did you say 23%?
0.8% chance of winning the conference.
Wow. How's that make you feel, Clemson fans?
I mean, they're second behind only FSU.
Yeah, but 23%.
Yeah, this is a 100% total split up between all the teams. That means that Florida State has a slightly better than 1 in 4 chance. Clemson has a slightly less than 1 in 4 chance, but they're still in the same ballpark.
Why are you taking that away from me?
Because I
don't care about accuracy.
I am objective and a neutral character.
Well, I deal in reality. Okay.
Okay. They got Miami with an 11.7% chance to win the ACC. SMU 9.7% chance. Lowell 6.8%. NC State 6.7%. Everybody else below 5.8%, including North Carolina, who without Drake May drops down to just a 2% chance of winning the conference this year. ESPN writes, quote, it's basically FSU and Clemson with a combined 51.3% chance of winning the ACC versus the field.
I'm just guessing because I don't remember, but I believe that's what they probably said last year and the year before that. It just didn't end up that way. Well, FSU was there, but Clemson was not.
I mean, because they lost to FSU and some other teams.
I was going to say more. They lost more games than that.
I don't know, man. Like, we've talked about FSU already. Mike Norvell has proven that he can build a roster through the transfer portal. That's just kind of what his, I hesitate to say legacy is right now, but if he left right now, that's what his leaving legacy would be.
Sounds like a winning legacy. I'm just saying so far.
He's won 1 year.
Yeah, well,
right?
He's
won 1 year.
How many years
and
has he been coaching there?
On top of that, in the 1 year he won, he had Jordan Travis. He had Johnny Wilson. He had Keon Coleman. These are all draft picks. He had Benson. These are all draft picks. He had, I think, the best set of skill position players in the ACC last year. He doesn't have that this year. That skill position set is gone. Now, I will also point out, as I did when I made the point that Florida State absolutely deserved a playoff berth, even sans Jordan Travis. They also had a top 15 defense in the league, in college football last year. Very good defense last year. That goes out there. And I think there's something to be said. But here is what ESPN says about the Clemson Tigers. 2024 projection has them checked in 14th in SP Plus with 9.1 average wins, 6.3 in the conference. They write that over the last 3 seasons, Clemson's average SP Plus rating is 14.4, the 15th best in FBS. The Tigers have gone 30-10 in that span, winning an ACC title. If you knew nothing about what Clemson did before 2021, Dabo Swinney's downright countercultural method of roster building and completely eschewing the potential of the transfer portal in the name of doubling down on culture and in-house development would seem rather charming. We are supposed to reward coaches for going about things differently and winning, right? But then they point out the history. Then they point out what you're looking at pre-2021. They say Clemson's 2023 team was solid. It was also the school's worst in 12 years. And Swinney refuses to fill holes like everyone else in his general recruiting stratosphere does with transfers. He signs 2 of them in 6 years. Both were backup quarterbacks, and one had begun his career at Clemson. So the overall expectations, including with Phil Moffitt taking over at the running back spot, including Jake Briningstool coming back for another year at tight end, especially the breakout player that he was at the end of the year. Tyler Brown stepping back up into the slot to be a game breaker of a wide receiver. 7 of the 9 linemen who started a game last season are back. Still got them checked in second in the conference. Still got them checked in behind an FSU team that lost more talent than what I just told you is returning to Clemson next year. Is anybody shocked by that? Like, is there anybody who looked at this team, who looked at this offseason and thought to themselves, Clemson's going to skyrocket right back? And by the way, it's not like the gap between them and Florida State in these preseason big egghead nerd numbers evaluations are gulfs different. They're not. They're like right next to each other. Florida State is projected at 27.5% to win the conference. Clemson, 23.8%. FSU, 17% chance to win 11 games. Clemson, 12%.
Who makes these decisions at the video game? I mean,
these aren't video game numbers, by the way. These are ESPN's official ACC preseason prognostication.
Oh, I thought we were still talking about the
No.
video game.
This is an ACC comprehensive preview posted by Bill Connolly from ESPN, which is kind of why I find it interesting, because over the past few years, Clemson has been a media darling for ESPN. And here they are, 1 year after FSU won the conference. And this is, let's be very clear, this is not a slight. This is not disrespect. This is none of those things. This is just a thing, I think, objective prognostication. But my question is, with FSU losing everything they've lost, and with Clemson bringing back as much as they have brought back, is it fair to say, if Clemson does not meet these ESPN numbers, if they don't get to say, they project 9-4 overall, if they don't get to 10 wins, is it a failure? Can we label Clemson a failure if they don't get to 10 wins?
By whose terms?
Anybody's. This is open for everybody. Is it a failure to you if Clemson wins 9 games, not 10?
Yeah, because of what they were able to do during their championship run. And whereas other teams are reload and they're right back the next year, they've had a falling off. And it comes back to, again, it's mentioned many times, but you have to, it's quarterback play.
I'm not a big fan of the hold the sins of the father against the son mentality. I'm not a big fan of, well, in 2018, they did this, and so therefore, right? Like, this isn't the 2018 team. This is the 2024 team.
So are we on the other side of the dynasty? Is the dynasty done, and this is just looking for another dynasty to start? If we're on the other side of the dynasty, then they're back to where they were before, actually winning a little more than what they did before they went on their run, but they seem to be in a decline. Is this more an indictment on the ACC as a whole that they think a 9-4 team will be number 2?
I don't know about that. I mean, I don't think anybody is looking down the line past FSU, Clemson, and Miami and seeing anybody that really scares them. I think that there is a chance that, let's see, who could win 10 games in this conference? Florida State can win 10 games in this conference. SMU can win 10 games in this conference. Louisville can win 10 games in this conference. Miami, maybe. I'm not going to lie. Miami's the Mississippi State of the ACC. Every year we get a parade about how they're back, and every year they aren't back.
You haven't mentioned Clemson. Your entire list that you never mentioned Clemson.
Well, okay. I was kind of putting them, it was assumed that I was putting them in that category, but Clemson.
Was it? Because I didn't assume that. You didn't say it, so I was waiting for you to say they weren't.
FSU can win 10. Clemson can win 10. SMU can win 10. Miami can win 10. Louisville can win 10. That might be the list. And I don't know that that is dramatically better or worse than any of the other power conferences, but it is also exactly the reason that I have said a number of times and will up until day one of the college football season that I think it is only right that Clemson fans label success right now. Tell me what success is today, so that at the end of this year, we can say they met it or they didn't met it. ESPN says success for this team, they have them projected at 9-4. So anything less than 10, ESPN says, is a failure. Do we agree with that take? Do we agree with that take?
Yes. For years, I've said Clemson is the ACC. Even though it came across sarcastic, it was the truth. They are not anymore. And so you say they've fallen out of love with them. No, they just are not as good as they used to be.
I think there is some degree of the top of the conference starting to catch up. Florida State for sure.
FSU like toppled them in 1 year, and all of a sudden people aren't talking about Clemson anymore.
I don't know that anybody's not talking. I think they're asking questions. I think they're worried.
9-4, Rob.
Right?
I mean, you know.
So they got Georgia, App State, NC State, Stanford, FSU, Wake Forest, Virginia, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Pitt, the Citadel, and South Carolina. Is there 10? Let's put it this way. Are there 3 losses in there? Are there 3 losses down the pipe for Clemson? I would say Georgia's a loss. I would say FSU is a toss-up. Where's the other 2 losses? I don't see one. Hey, Nas Mario.
Do they play Notre Dame?
They do not this year.
Okay.
Don't play Miami this year either. So that's exactly my point. All right, let's take a break. Hey, Nas Mario on the other side. The Rob Brown Show rolls on after this Sports Flash.
The Atlanta Braves dropped the first of 3-game set against the Giants yesterday, 5-3. Ronaldo Lopez worked 4.1 innings, surrendering a pair of earned runs, while San Francisco's rookie Hayden Birdsong earned the win. Former Brave Jorge Soler recorded 1 of 3 Giants home runs, while the Braves generated just 6 hits on the night. Atlanta is now 46-37, 9 games back of Philadelphia. The Charlotte Hornets' all-time points leader, Kemba Walker, announced his retirement from the game in a social media post yesterday. Walker won a national championship at UConn and was a 4-time All-Star after being drafted 9th overall by Charlotte in 2011. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and it's obviously a whole lot of fun. And it's brand spanking new. And it's all wire to wire. You're saying for sure. So you know without a doubt, Stephen, that they're going to do that. Last year was an anomaly. The year before and the year before. Also, James, if you can beat any game with Yamcha, you're showing the skill that you actually have. Although I think he is, people are too hard on Yamcha. Definitely some bad writing in Super made him look even worse. It's like the 3rd strongest normal human. I mean, that's not bad. It also depends, do you consider Krillin a mutant because he has no nose? I don't know. Or Yamcha a mutant because he has a 3rd eye, I suppose. Come on, Steven. Come on, dude. I mean, root for your team. I get it. But, I mean, so you are guaranteeing a win against Georgia game 1. If they beat Georgia, they're definitely winning the ACC. I do love that Android 17 is the one who saved all the universes. I think that's kind of cool, but you know.
They named it after my phone. That's awesome.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I love that I'm having 2 conversations, one about Clemson and the other about Dragon Ball Z. It's just, radio is just awesome. Been better if I cut out that promo, but it's too late now. You know, that's your fault. It's not my fault.
Come on, Coco. Gave her that one. Mario might not be back from vacation.
was going to say the other player looks very European. I can't see
Yes.
what flag. Is that?
Romania.
Okay, yeah. It's the hair. The hair looks very European.
They did a piece earlier on Maria Sharapova. I was in love, boy.
Still, Frieza in Hell being sung to by teddy bears is the most amazing thing of all time.
Here we go. Final hour of the Rob Brown Radio Show starts now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob and Lonzo with you here on a fake Friday. Got to get down on Friday kind of morning.
That's right. We're not here tomorrow.
We are not here tomorrow. I'm going to tell you right now, sleeping in is going to feel incredible.
All right. Sleeping in for you. How late?
Depends on the day.
7 o'clock is about,
Oh God, no.
7 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, I'm staying in here till 8. And then I can doze off a little bit more. But a lot of times it's 7:30, then I'm up.
I will.
Which is still 3.5 hours later than what normal.
I will wake up naturally, probably somewhere in the ballpark of 6 a.m.
But are you napping today just so you can stay up later?
Oh, I do that on the regular week.
Okay. All right.
Like today I had the show from 3 to 7. So what today's process will be is right after the show, cut a promo, leave, go meet with the sponsor, go meet with the client, then go home, prep the house for the arrival of the foster dog tonight. Do the show 3 to 7. So no, there will not be a siesta today. But also, we're not really we're doing an at-home date tonight. We're not going anywhere or doing anything tonight. So nap not super required. But like last week, we were doing stuff. We were going to baseball games and doing wedding organizing.
Being home together, you just call that an at-home date?
No,
we're going to say, because then I at-home date all the time.
No, at-home date is you do a little, I'll make her dinner. I'll put some candles out on the table. It's like a date. It's like going out to dinner, except I'm just making the dinner, right? Like we make an effort of not just sitting on the opposite sides of the couches.
Candles on the table every night.
No, not at all.
So
she actually, I'm a big candle guy, but she is one of those people that strong scents give her headaches.
Me too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so.
I know. Strong scents give her. I can't do my candles, man. I love a good Yankee candle.
Wow.
Love a good Yankee candle.
Wow.
How is a nice smell bad?
The testosterone just left the room.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you think my manhood is gauged on the fact that I enjoy my gamer room smelling like a summer breeze.
You define a man how you want. I will never go. I've always said that. I define what a man is to me.
You just said the testosterone in this room is dropping.
I am obligated as a macho guy to say certain things to, for the people out there. Because I'm representing the people, and a lot of the people were thinking exactly what I said. So, I'm just being the voice.
Your desire to place it on the radio means that you had to feel like it was worth the airtime. I'm not going to write it down because I
don't think I could spell testosterone, but
I like my bro cave to smell like lavender sometimes.
It's not a bro cave.
Get off me.
It needs to smell of sweat and Doritos.
No, it does not. No, it does not. It needs to smell like lavender.
Tell me you don't dust.
I dust all the time.
Oh my gosh.
How do you not dust? Do you know what dust is? It's literally dead skin flakes.
I know, right?
You sociopath.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Dust your surroundings. You grow. I'm not even that clean of a person, but I dust. It's just dead skin flakes everywhere.
Brush off my dandruff. Pick up my controller.
Oh, you're a gross person. Stop it. I'm done with you. That's awful. That's disgusting.
If you don't need me anymore, I can go ahead and go.
No, I don't need you talking about
Friday started early.
Roughing your dandruff off your shoulders. All
right?
No,
I was talking about off the equipment. Well, you can't play a game without hair whipping. Of course, you can't do that because you have to cut your hair.
Where am I going from here? I gotta say this.
No, the dead air.
Dead air. MLB power rankings.
There we go.
MLB power
Wow.
rankings.
Baseball.
I mean, I'm already challenging the testosterone levels in the air because apparently wanting things to smell nice is unmanly.
What's your favorite scent of Yankee Candle?
I'm big on Summer Linen right now.
Oh God.
Big fan.
Summer linen.
Big fan.
What does summer linen smell like? Does it smell like clothes out of the dryer?
It smells like freshly done laundry, like good, clean, fresh. I also like they make a baked apple pie. Big on the baked apple pie.
Wow, that would just make me want apple pie.
Big baked on.
So
the
you don't
pie.
get hungry smelling an apple pie smell.
I found one the other night called Movie Night Cocoa. Oh man,
dude,
it's more of a winter smell though, right? Like I can't
Oh
like
my
Movie Night
God.
Cocoa during the summertime when it's hot. That ain't it. I got Silver Sage. Big fan of Silver Sage. That's another good one. Bahama Breeze. Anytime I'm feeling homesick for the beach, Bahama Breeze is untouchable. Gives you that nice little mix of like coconut and salt water.
does it smell like Destin? I mean,
It does.
Okay.
It does.
All right.
Smells like home. Smells like home. I will tell you right now, Christmas time, best time for candles. Christmas candles are just goated. Can't touch them. Can't touch them. Yankee makes one that I buy around Christmas time called Tree Farm Festival. It's like pine, but like some little peppermint back in the background. Oh, it's amazing. Amazing.
Just for Steven on the stream, I'm not wearing shoes right now, Steven. So
Of course he's not, because he's a lunatic and he likes messing with me. I don't understand.
should I reach my toes underneath the console?
Only if you want them kicked off.
I'm not worried. You like Yankee Candles? I'm good. I actually did reach my toes across there. I took a chance. He could have stomped on them. But he's not wearing real shoes either.
Find out if I got the precision to take a toenail off, because I'll try.
They're pretty big toenails. So
At number 30, the Chicago White Sox. No shock there. They stink. 24-62. Fire sale at the deadline. Colorado, I'm putting at number 29 for the exact same reason. They're bad. They do have some guys on the team that are pretty good. Ryan McMahon, Elias Diaz, like good players that maybe they can build something out of. I got Miami at number 28 at 30-54. Tanner Scott is not going to be a Marlin come August, and he actually is a Brave target for me. Oakland Athletics at 30-56. I've got them at number 27. They've pretty much already sold everybody else that they've got so far. They will trade Mason Miller and they will move on. The LA Angels, I've got at number 26 at 36-47. They will probably not move guys because they're dumber than hell. I got Detroit at number 25. They do have a Cy Young frontrunner in Tarek Skubal, who is an absolute stud. And I wonder if he is going to be a Tiger much longer. They're 38-46. I've got the Nats at 24. Washington with a 39-45 record. Here's the thing. Every team that I list from the National League from this point forward, every one of them alive in the wild card race right now, including the Washington Nationals. Remember 2 weeks ago when the MLB trade deadline conversations started up? What did I tell you? There's going to be a lot of teams that think, oh, we'll just find the piece at the deadline, that aren't going to be able to. I told you 2 weeks ago, when the deadline gets here, there's going to be a ton of buyers and not very many sellers at all. Look at the National League. There's basically two teams in the National League that aren't in the wild card race right now. The Nats are. We'll see if they make any moves at the deadline. I got the Cubs. This sucks. This team was up in the top teens a couple of weeks ago, but Shota Imanaga has fallen off completely. They've had a bunch of injuries. They have not won more than 2 games in a row since April 26th of this year. If you'll kindly all look down at the bottom right corner of your computer screen, you will see that it is now July. It's now July. It's not May. It's not June. It's July. It has been 2 months since they won more than 2 games back to back. I don't know what to do here if I'm Chicago. They look like seller, but they don't have a lot of rentals. They don't have a lot of guys approaching the end of the contract. They got guys that if you want a cubby, You're going to have to pick up a big-time contract to do it, and that's not really what the deadline is traditionally used for. I got Toronto at number 22. Cody Decker tried to tell us all this team's not going to be very good. Will they make a move for Vladdy, for Bo Bichette? I don't know. They probably should, but they believe that they're still close, which I don't get. I got Cincinnati at number 21. They're checking in at 39 and 45. I think they will be buyers at the deadline because they feel like they are a bat or two away from being contenders in that division. And I do think that division is going to be wide open during the last month of the regular season. I just don't know if they've got the money to make the move for a Luis Robert or a Randy Arozarena. At number 20, I'm putting your defending champs, the Texas Rangers. Rangers have to be sellers. They're caught in a weird spot. On one hand, they wanted to defend for a title. On the other hand, they stink. What do you do here? Do you make a move? Do you send out Kirby Yates? Do you send out some of the 30-something players that have been good this year and rebuild around Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford and the youth movement they're building? I kind of think you have to. I got Pittsburgh at number 19. They're just 3 games below 500 at 40 and 43. This one's very interesting. The Pirates feel like they are a bat or 3 away from being very good. And oh, by the way, you may have heard of this Paul Skeens fella, a guy that is going to win the Rookie of the Year award as a pitcher, which never happens. Pirates aren't bad. I got San Francisco at number 18. They are 41 or were before yesterday. I put this list together yesterday. I didn't just get to it yesterday. Now they're 42 and 44 after knocking off Atlanta yesterday. The Giants, I think, are going to be good at the end of the year. Not Dodger good, but I think they could be absolutely in lockstep with the San Diego Fathers for a wild card spot, maybe a top wild card spot. I think they are probably going to have to trade away somebody. I think they are probably going to send away one of a very crowded outfield. Will they return somebody to the back end to replace him? I don't know. Arizona, I've got a number 16. Arizona is going to make a push. This is that youth movement we talked about just a minute ago. This is a team that is built on that youth movement. They are fine in terms of the players they have on the board. I think they make a move for an old school vet, somebody that can come in and walk them through when the offense slows down, how not to panic, because I think there's a lot of that for Arizona. But I think they're going to be where they're going to be. I got the New York Mets at 15. Team that's been hovering around 500. This is really interesting. They had the best June in all of Major League Baseball, but the pitching staff, and when Diaz has gotten sat down for a sticky stuff suspension, their frontline guys have been liabilities over and over. I don't know what to do here. Like the Mets feel like they're as good as they have been in a very long time, but I just don't think they're there yet. Tampa Bay, I've got right there tucked in at number 14. I am interested in what Tampa Bay does. I think Randy Arozarena is out, though. June batted .291 with an .893 OPS, which was dramatically better than April or May was for Randy Arozarena. But he's up there in age, and Tampa doesn't like to hang on to these guys for very long. Tampa likes to make sure that they are based on a young roster, and I think they will make the push for that. I slid Tampa Bay into that spot. Let's go to St. Louis, 43 and 40 as of yesterday. I don't know what to make of this team either. It's another weird one. Like you got guys like Goldie and Arenado that have been there forever. They are guys that know how to win. They're guys that know how to do this. They're guys that have been in high pressure situations before, but like they're just not a sexy team. They're just not a sexy team. They've got no depth. If any of their starters go down, they are screwed. None of their reserve players are batting over 200. Forget 300. None of them batting over 200. That's a problem. I got the Royals checking in above above St. Louis. They've been hovering around 8 games over 500 most of the season. This team is very interesting because their GM, JJ Piccolo, has already said that they very much intend to be aggressive in pursuing free agents. They very much have said that they plan on being very specific, on targeting the right guys that fit in with the lineup in the locker room. I really like this team. Are there guys like a Rosarena that might fit in? Is that what they consider a guy who would fit into the locker room, fit into the lineup? I don't know. They are going to have to booster the bullpen, but we'll find out. Let's go to Boston next. Checked in yesterday at 44-39. I'm interested in this one. I honestly think the Red Sox probably need to bail out. I think they probably need to bail out. I think this is a good opportunity to lighten the roster. I don't think you are catching New York. I don't think you are catching Baltimore. I think the best you're doing is third in that division, and it may be good enough for you to make it into the playoff as a wild card spot if you're Boston, and maybe this is a coward's way out, but I think you could sell the farm. I think you could absolutely restock like whoa right now. I think you're in a good spot to really restock because this is not necessarily a program that's getting younger either. At number 11, give me the Padres. AJ Preller's he's got to do something. Like they're hanging around. They've been sitting around 5, 6, 7 games over 500 with a relatively difficult schedule. I think it's a sell move for them, but I don't know. When we come back, top 10 teams. Top 10 teams in Major League Baseball, according to my power rankings through yesterday evening. I'll get those for you when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, give me just a second to reset. I'll be right back.
Doubt that. As fast as those guys are, they may be done before we get off the air. Especially how the hallway is the same size all the way, They're putting the glue down all the way at the other end already.
Oh, there are multiple guys down there working?
There's 2 guys that I saw. I thought I recognized them. It's the same guys that have been there before. And they put carpet in all the other rooms. And so I say goodbye to my squeaky shoes. And when I walk barefoot, my feet won't be as cold.
What if you don't do that, though?
I'm just following the management precedent that's been set. And managers are walking around without shoes, That means for today only, the 3-second rule applies because the carpet's fresh.
And now you're eating off the floor. Awesome.
Who doesn't do that? Not just the floor, but the ground. I mean, you've never dropped something, picked it up, and ate it.
In my own
Ever in your
house.
entire life. Right. This is my house. Whose house?
All right, so we're running through my MLB power rankings as of yesterday. Going in, I was going to get this on yesterday's show, but didn't have the time, so we'll try it one more time. We have got to the top 10 teams. We've gotten to the top 10 teams in Major League Baseball. Here's how I stack them up. Yes, I did say baseball. I'm struggling today.
I listened. It's the feet talk in between that's really getting to you. I'm not going to stop though.
A team that I thought was dead in the water, and they have figured something out. The Houston Astros right now. They have not just climbed above 500. They are clear of 500 at this point. I think there are some spots that they need to work on. Jose Abreu, that signing has not worked out. But there's some options out there for him. Vladdy, Lamonte Wade Jr., Pete Alonso could all end up being available. That would give them the first base spot that they need to fill up. We'll find out. But the Astros have turned something around fierce here. I do think it's a bit of a hot streak. If the Houston Astros make their way into these playoffs, they are only making it in as the last wild card spot out of the AL. And frankly, I don't think they're going to get there. I still am not ready to say that this team is going to jump up and bite anybody. I don't think they're that good anymore. I think they've lost the gree that made them what they are. So I'm not leaning on them. But as of right now, power rankings are how you're playing right now. Houston's playing good ball. I got the Twins at number 9. The Twins lineup, when it is hitting the ball well, hits the ball really well. It is exceptional when it's hitting the ball well. The problem is it leans left-handers. And so when they end up against a lefty ace somewhere, those numbers flat out disappear. They have got to go find a big right-handed hitter somewhere. If they can find a big right-handed hitter and they can break up those lefty spots in the lineup, then I think all of a sudden those games where teams are maybe even pre-programming, building their lefties into a lineup to match up with the Twins, those go away. Let's go away. And now all of a sudden you're in a better spot. And number 8, the Seattle Mariners. I really like this team. This team's fun, man. This team is fun. It's young. It's hype. They're energetic. They're exciting. They're a lot of fun to watch. They just can't seem to get anything going on a long run. They win 2-3 games, they drop a couple. They win 3 games, they drop one. They win 2 games, they drop one. Like it's streaky, but not in a good way. So I don't really know what direction to go from here. I think it'd be helpful if you could go find probably a DH, maybe a first baseman. Problem is, I think there's a lot of teams that are going to be in the market for both of those positions. And as I've said, because every team upwards of DC in the standings right now, all of them are in line for a run at the last wild card spot in the playoffs, which means they're likely going to go ahead and take that chance because they don't come around very often, which means the trade market's going to be dead. And Seattle is not necessarily a team that's going to want to spend a lot of money. Let's go to the Milwaukee Brewers next. Milwaukee needs pitching. They need pitching. Freddie Peralta has been banged up. Tobias Myers, DL Hall have been good. But there's after those guys, and most of that, I wouldn't even say good. I'd say intriguing. I'd say they've showed flashes, but they haven't shown flashes that they are guys that I would trust in a playoff run yet. You've got to have 3 good arms to make a playoff run. You just do. You've got to have 3 good arms, and I don't think Milwaukee does. If this team can go out there and get themselves a top-notch pitcher, that they can have that third guy, then I think Milwaukee's got a real chance this year. They are a team traditionally that makes it to the playoffs, and then they just kind of flame out a little bit. But I think that has been largely because they have ridden good offenses, much like Atlanta. More often than not, they have ridden good offenses into the playoffs, and then it's just been ace after ace against good teams, and they don't have the aces to match up. Will they this time? I don't know. We'll find out. I got Atlanta right there in that mix at the 5 spot. Going into last night, 46-36, now 46-37 after dropping one to San Francisco last night. What do you want me to say? You lost Spencer Strider, who was expected to have a Cy Young caliber campaign this year. You lost Ronald Acuna Jr., last year's reigning, defending, undisputed National League MVP. You don't replace either one of those 2 guys with just one more player. But the good news here is that if you are Atlanta, outfield is one of the few spots where it feels like there will be options at the deadline. Outfield feels like one of the few spots where it feels like you'll actually have a chance. And that's a chance they need to take. Adam Duvall, unfortunately, ain't him right now. Kalenic has looked better in spots, but then he goes on games like he has the last 2, where it seems like the clutch gene has just absolutely escaped him. When Mike Harris went down and Kalenic was forced into being an everyday starter in the outfield, his batting numbers came up. And I thought, oh, that's it. We figured it out. But then they kind of leveled off and even went back down slightly. I think they're going to have to go find an outfielder, and then I think it is going to be a matter of figuring out what guy's hot at the right time to build your offensive combo for any given day. What guy's got the hot bat at any given time? I'm going to go the Cleveland Guardians ahead of the Atlanta Braves. The Guardians are 22 games over 500. The Twins and Royals are still in the back pocket. They lost Shane Bieber back in April. They've got money to shop as well. They do not have the bloated salary that some of these other teams that we have talked about as being in contention have. Question mark. Who's the pitchers that are out there? Who's the pitcher that it's out? Is it Jack Flaherty? Is it Garrett Crochet? Who's the pitcher that they go get? Because I do think they have to go get somebody. We'll find out. I had Cleveland. I've got the Yankees. The Yankees are just on a slide right now. Luis Gil, who was playing Cy Young caliber ball off the bump 3 weeks ago, all of a sudden is getting hammered every time out. Like I'll be straight up with you. I don't know why. I don't know if he's hanging his fastball in a way that I'm just not picking up, but batters are. I don't know if he's tipping somehow. But Gil has gone down. LeMahieu has struggled. Rizzo has been dinged up. Aaron Judge had to miss a couple of games. Juan Soto took a seat for a minute. Giancarlo Stanton had to sit for a few games. I'm trying to figure out if something is wrong with the Yankees, if this is just a little bit of a slide for the Yankees, or if this is just what the Yankees are. It's just what they've been for the last few years. A team that does not respond when put under pressure. And now that Baltimore is in the back pocket, it's kind of hard for me to think that maybe this is just what this locker room is. Maybe it's about time to clean the house for the Yankees because the guys they got in there can't handle pressure ever. I got the Dodgers at number 3. This one's going to be interesting. I've said that a lot. It's trade deadline. It's always interesting. They have lost Mookie Betts for an extended period of time. Shohei Ohtani can't pitch this year. Wonderful DH. One of the top vote getters in the NL for the All-Star game because he is a fantastic DH. But I think this team is going to be, I don't even know if this team needs to make a move. I just know that they will. That's just kind of the MO of this team. And there's a lot of names out there. We mentioned a few already. Robert Jr., Eric Fetty out there. There are spots. There are the Garrett Crochets to give themselves some depth out in the bullpen. The Dodgers are going to have to pay a lot of money for their move. But they've got it and they're willing to. They've got it and they're willing to. The Dodgers are going to hurt some feelings because there are going to be some teams that believe they are in the market for some of the bigger names. And then we're all going to wake up to a string of push notifications saying the Dodgers got all these all-stars, already got all of them. Now they got more. Give me Baltimore at number 2. Give me Baltimore at number 2. Baltimore is taking the lead from the Yankees in the AL East. Baltimore has a 54-game win record going for them right now. There's very few spots on the field that they are not fully developed, and that has been the fun thing about this Baltimore team. It's a homegrown team. If you are a believer in building a baseball team from the ground up, welcome to Baltimore, where the young players play. Now, Baltimore will be better. Kyle Bradish is shut down for the season. John Means shut down for the season. Tyler Wells shut down for the season. There's a big hole in Baltimore, and it's on the bump. It's on the one spot. They are going to have to figure out who they can pick up to trot out there on the bump and pick up the pressure that is going to be added by having all those guys go down. They'll find it. And the number 1 team in America, what do you want? It's the Philadelphia Phillies. It's the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies didn't make any additions this winter. They felt like they had built a roster that was ready. They beat the Braves last year for the second year in the row in the NLDS. They didn't have to make any moves. Now, Schwarber's gone down. Harper's gone down. Real Muto has gone down. All those guys are working towards getting back. And when they do get back, it scares me. But again, this is a what have you done for me lately ranking. What I'm interested in, second half of the season for Philly. Will the pressure close in on them? Will they have, or they will have a much tougher schedule down the pipe than they've had so far? Will they be able to answer that bell? Because they've had a lot of close games as they've racked up 56 wins. So here goes my MLB power rankings. That's how I've got them set up and stacked today. One segment left of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Wow, this is interesting. There is glue all the way up to the end of our hallway, going all the way to the door, all the way to that hallway, and all the way down that hallway. So if we can't step in that stuff, we are locked in here. We are literally painted into a corner. And I have to leave at like 10:15. So don't know what this is going to look like.
Have they started laying the carpet down yet?
Nope. they're still spreading glue or whatever it is. I don't know that it is glue. It may be something else, but
Well, here's what we do. We take those NCAA radio things over there, put them on the ground, step on them. And if we have to keep picking them up and moving them like in a video game, we do that till we get out the door. Those things are old. They can be thrown away. If there's anything else in here we can step on, but that we could do. Or we could take the backing of the that goes on the board.
Impromptu snowshoes.
I mean, come on. I'll get you out the building.
Literally painted into a corner.
There's did they move the cutouts and everything that were out there?
It's in that hallway. It's the main hallway. Like,
Oh, okay. So we can still get to.
we can get to our office.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but we can't get to the door, the long hallway to the other side of the building, or the hallway down to the power.
How's your long jumping?
Not that good.
Of course, you might long jump and then your shoes to stick.
Those old cartoons.
Which would be a lot of fun to watch.
Shedding clothes as you go down the hallway to the glue. Yeah, maybe we just stay on the air for an extra couple hours. Yes, Keegan, you did miss the WNBA segment, which is not sarcastic. I actually did one.
It was like an hour one, wasn't it?
There was. I think the second segment of hour one.
Oh, I'm starting to smell the glue. Oh, I do not like that smell.
Texter said, OMG, move on from baseball. Break down the best barbecue for all I care. Just move on. Same texter also texted in the last segment, great, more baseball talk. Can we go back to discussing candles? Careful what you wish for, texter. Careful what you wish for. Because I could absolutely do an entire segment on candles.
Now it's
Not a
time for
problem.
Rob Brown's top 25 candles.
You want them?
No.
I'd probably come up with 25 off the top of my head.
That's no, I don't. That's the thing I didn't want to know about you. I mean, some things just
How
should
is
be
that the thing?
Some things should be left a mystery.
What? How is candles bad?
Dude, the glue's getting to me. It really is. This is not me being sarcastic. This is not me joking around for the air. It's really starting to mess with me.
I got nothing. You know what would help? A candle. A candle would help so much right now.
I don't know.
Just light it right over there in the corner.
Dude, lighting a flame around the fumes that are going on right now, not a good idea.
And they have glued us into a corner. Like down the hallway from the Fortress of Nerditude, you step out, you take a left, and then you come to a junction hallway. It's E-Junction hallway. And you can either go left and straight to management. You can go left and then across to get to the other side of the building, or right to go down the hallway and leave via the closest staircase. That whole hallway is coated in glue now. So I don't really know what to do.
I'm citing unsafe working conditions, and we need an escort out of the building because I can't handle the smell.
It's pretty gnarly, dude.
It's getting stronger too.
Oh,
yeah.
Yankee Candle has a new scent called Snowflake Kisses. I would like to try it. I bet it's delightful.
Stop it, Steven.
Harmonious Neroli and Yang. I don't even know what that is. Looks incredible.
It doesn't sound good though.
Looks fantastic. Silver Sage and Pine. Oh, those are two of my favorite scents put together. I like that. Coconut and Iris. Oh, that's going to be untouchable. You like the smell of coconut? I love coconut. I don't like the taste of coconut, but I love the smell of coconut.
I'm okay with the smell of coconut, but what's Iris smell like?
I don't know. That's why I'm on it.
Give up forever. Never mind.
Sun and Sand. Oh, I got a new beach flavor candle. Love that. Love that. Autumn Daydream. Art in the Park. That one looks fun.
Is that?
That's what you get.
Yeah,
That's what you get.
Pretty soon that won't matter. Is that Art Garfunkel in the park?
All right, NBA free agent tracker. We have been keeping an eye on this. We are now down through a pair of days, and the biggest name free agent is officially off the books as LeBron James.
Hey, stop sniffing. We all heard you do it. Don't you do that.
You're making. I'm trying to enjoy the end of the show.
Let's not make the last segment a huffing segment.
I'm trying to really enjoy the end of the show. It is pretty strong now. I'm not gonna lie. Like a minute ago, I was like, Lonzo, stop being a wimp, and now I'm like, nah. It definitely smells like we're in the inside of an Elmer's factory right now. So this is gonna be. By the end of the show, it's just gonna be me and Lonzo sitting here going, LeBron James,
bro.
LeBron James has officially signed a new contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. It is for a lot of money, and it just says on it, we hereby affirm that the undersigned LeBron James can do whatever he wants. I'm pretty sure the terms of the contract are you can do whatever you want, and we'll give you money. 2-year, $104 million deal that includes one of only 2 non-trade clauses in the NBA. The other belongs to Bradley Beal. James declined his player option on Saturday, as I told you he would, with the expectation of signing a new contract, which I told you he would. He has now done that, and do not think for a second that the drafting of Bronny James wasn't a bit of an incentive to encourage Bron to make that happen. And that is exactly what happened. Bronny comes in with the 55 pick a day after JJ Redick and co. introduce him to the Laker faithful. There's LeBron signing a new 2-year, over $52 million a year contract with the Lakers. He got what he wanted. And let's be very clear. I absolutely think that LeBron James holds all the power in this relationship, right? Everything that Bron has wanted has happened. The firing of Frank Vogel, the firing of Coach Ham, the hiring of JJ Redick, the drafting of Bronny James. Like, these are all things that LeBron had wanted. And I know there's a lot of y'all that are running down the path of, and I said this to Cody Decker on Saturday because he's kind of in this group, running down the path of what a bunch of cowards the Lakers are, right? What a bunch of cowards for giving LeBron James everything that LeBron James wants. By the way, and Keegan just said, how are they already talking about signing Bronny to a multiple-year deal when he barely averaged 5 points a game and literally had a heart attack? I will start with this one, Keegan. My favorite part of the contract is not the length. It's not the price. There is one term. Bronny's contract guarantees him a spot on the Lakers roster. Isn't that wild? You ever heard of that before? Guarantees him that he will not go through the traditional NBA developmental path. He will start week 1 on the roster.
Yeah, I have one of those.
I bet you do. But you are also a 45-year veteran.
No, I'm not. I'm not that old. Glue's definitely getting to you.
You got the Bronny guarantee, right? I think it really does come down to here, as I've said a couple of times leading up to the selection of Bronny, LeBron James is still a top 10 player in the league. I will not allow anyone to say below bottom 15. I will not think anybody is going to say LeBron James deserves to be ranked any lower than 15 in the power rankings, even at this stage in his career, right? And considering if LeBron leaves, the Lakers immediately go into hard reset, right? The plan was, I think, you were going to bring in Anthony Davis. You were going to let him succeed, thrive under LeBron James for a few years. And after a couple of years, LeBron would take off the crown and would place it onto the head of the brow. And then you just roll into the next era of Laker basketball. The problem is AD don't want that crown. AD don't want the crown. He don't want to be the guy. And because he don't want to be the guy, when this is over, they got to reboot. Unless something in Anthony Davis clicks this year and he goes, okay, this is it. He's going to go, and then I'm stuck with Bronny for a couple of years, and he ain't going to be that guy. He ain't good enough to be LeBron. So let me just go bananas now. Let me just be that guy now. But is anybody going to bank on that happening? Anthony Davis just becoming an overnight sensation? No, not at all.
Wasn't he that in New Orleans?
He was the best player that we had when he was in New Orleans. But Anthony Davis wasn't a guy that, got you into the playoffs and then single-handedly took over games for you. Like, he was good. We won a couple of series. We challenged the Lakers one time towards, I think, at the very, very end of Kobe's career. I think they crossed over like 1 year. I don't remember. Maybe it wasn't him. Anyway, he was our best player, but like AD wasn't the guy that answered the bell when the Pelicans needed a big moment. It was always find somebody else to do it. And I kind of get the vibe. That's how the Lakers see Anthony Davis right now. And if that's how the Lakers see Anthony Davis right now, then when LBJ says G2G, TTYL, and splits from LA, they got to reboot. They got to reset. So you got two options. You could have not drafted Bronny, had a 55th pick, tried to pick somebody you think was a star in round one, and hit the rebuild now. Or option two, you draft Bronny James, you keep LeBron James in the mix, a top 10 player. You utilize the rest of free agency to try to build around the guy, and you see what happens. I don't think they had a choice. And if LeBron and Rich Paul said, and remember, Rich Paul was calling other NBA teams saying, do not draft Bronny James. If you draft Bronny James, he's going to Australia. He's not coming to play for you. If you pick him, it is a waste of a pick. Do you think that LeBron didn't have a little something to do with that? Of course he does. Rich Paul's is aging. He's got that LeBron pull, that LeBron cred behind him. So do you think the Lakers for a second wanted to hand Bronny James the first rookie contract that guaranteed him a spot on the floor? No. But LeBron ain't going to be super happy if you draft Bronny 55th overall to put him on the same team and then you send him down to developmental for a while, right? You send him down to NBA NXT for a while so we can get some ring time in. And then what happens if LeBron's done? What happens if LeBron can't go at the end of this year and Bronny's still in developmental? No. I want him on this team. When I leave, you can do whatever you want. When I leave, you can do whatever you want. But I'm here and I want him. That's the only option. So the fact that they did everything Bron wanted. Ham is gone. Bronny is in. JJ's the head coach. Now that they did everything that LeBron requested and required of them to keep him, of course he signed a plus $100 million 2-year contract. The hell else was he going to do?
And now, the Rob Brown presents Twitter.
Sorry, man. The clue is really messing with me.
Alonzo's stoned out of his
No,
mind
I'm
right
not.
now.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to decide if I'm
Out
gonna,
of his gourd today.
trying to decide if I'm going to die or not. I can taste it. It's so nasty. All right. The first thing it's Xing is Back to the Future.
Back to the Future is trending because today in 1955 is the day that the second of the two pines got knocked down and turned two pine into one pine.
No, it is. It's a good guess though. It's not bad. I don't know if the glue's influencing your thought process or not, but possibly.
No, I'm just a weirdo.
Okay. No, 39 years ago today, Back to the Future was released.
We agree it holds up, right?
Oh, for
You know
sure.
what's up.
For sure.
As time travel movies go,
Except for, again, I haven't seen part 2, but I guess part 2's take of the future is not very good since it already technically happened.
it did.
Yeah.
It did. And it was, I did not get a hoverboard. A
Yeah.
little disappointed by that. The only thing, see, I enjoyed part 3 because I mean, Doc Brown in a Western. Yes, please.
Yeah, 3 was my favorite.
Here's the problem. Somebody did the write-up one time. If you actually follow all the timelines from the different movies crossing at different spots, at one point in the 1800s, there were 3 DeLoreans there, not just the one. And that's really interesting. That's a paradox that never got addressed by Doc Brown. Time travel stories are hard. They're hard. I respected Endgame because that Hulk tried to explain it, right? When he's like, if you travel to a past, that past is now your future. You're not really jumping timelines. But then they immediately started jumping timelines. So I'm like, it was a good try.
All right. The next thing
Do
is
you believe time travel is possible? Let's go Joe Rogan podcast on this. Do you believe time travel is possible?
it's not out of the realm of possibility for me, no. And if it were possible, then there are people here from the future now.
See, who was it? I think it was Stephen Hawking one time that threw a time travel party, but he didn't invite anybody because he's like, if you're from the future, you already know when the party is, so I don't need to invite anybody, and nobody showed up, right? But then my other thing would be, if you were going to time travel,
I don't know what kind of party a Stephen Hawking party would be. I mean, I know there would be intelligent conversation.
I could listen to that guy's computer talk all day.
Okay, but I mean, what kind of food are you getting there? I don't know.
I don't either, but I'd still take the shot. Here's my thing. If you travel back in time, you probably don't want them to know you're from not the time. Right?
Absolutely.
Nate Bargatze has this really funny bit where he goes, if you sent me back in time, I don't know that I could prove that I was from the future, right? They'd be like, who was the president in 1940? And I'd be like, right? Like, look, I got this phone in my pocket that allows me to call people. How does it work? Metal. Like, we did some cool things with metal. It's
Pixies.
very funny.
Pixies.
Nate Bargatze's great. I love that dude.
All
He's
right.
hilarious.
The last thing that's texting is, I don't know if you guys knew about this because it's coming up. It's very important. Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day to all of you. Listen, I have said this before. South Carolina is a huge part of the story of the American Revolution. All right. From Fort 96 all the way up to cow pens, whatever. It is a huge part of the American Revolution. And I ask all of you, I task all of you, spend some time tomorrow reading up on that. Spend some time learning in the history of your home state and how critical it was to winning the revolution. And then let's all reflect on what it means to live in a country that provides us with the independence that we all enjoy every single day. I hope you all enjoy your Independence Day. We will see you back here on Friday to do it all over again. And remember, Bill Pullman was America's greatest president. See you back here on Friday for the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later.
I really don't give a
All right, let's just see if I can escape.
This has me want to just finish my work at home because it really is.
It is bad in here for sure.
Yeah.
It really
we know how the
is.
ventilation is in here, and it may be less, whatever the word is, when we walk out in the hallway. Your sanity has been saved. I mean, is this even safe to do while people are in the building? I mean, I guess, but I think you automatically assume that they wouldn't do anything dangerous.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they wouldn't.
All right, guys, I got to go cut stuff, and then I got to leave. Have a spectacular rest of your day. Thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Tell your friends about us. We're trying to grow it, and other assorted platitudes.
By the way, I was just kidding about the whole thing. It's not that I thought we were off the stream when I said everything I said.
Bruh.